were you gonna say one thing before we start?
Yeah. So I don't know if Travis told you, I threw him this idea, but you remember how he said he wants me to reenact the Marvel movies, like, together?
Yeah.
Well, I threw
I
him
didn't
this
say reenact,
idea.
I said retell.
Retell, yes, retell. So I threw him this idea saying that me and Travis should reenact, like, the saddest moments of the Marvel movies. So, like, when Captain America's in the plane to go down, like, one of us is Captain America, probably him and I'm Peggy on the radio talking, and, like, Loki and Thor's death scene.
I think he hasn't thought about how much effort this is going to put in. I said,
honestly, if we just put a green blanket behind us, we can put any background we want, and we just need the...
Are you willing to do that?
I'll do that. I'll do the work. Wow. I've done green screen work. It's super easy.
I'll do it.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I think this would be super fun.
I'm a world-class actor, so...
I could be Winter Soldier above you, and you could be, like, I'm your friend to the end of the line. Like...
Wow.
I think it'd be really funny.
Got the check 5e. Make it happen. Remastered version featuring the GB squad.
Okay, we'll look at some best moments and maybe we'll get into that because, you know, we're not busy at all, but
no.
Fair enough. We're ready and it's cut the check officially. That's the ending. We're going to explain that live on cast. I think so. I think it's easier because we've butchered every time.
The only thing is, like, we only have 2 more episodes to go.
But the following ones when we're not
I know, but this is like the first, you know, like subset of like the, you know, Marvel retro, and I think we should try and actually hit the outro once.
So what
is these 2 episodes?
So the outros have a marvelous day.
Marvelous time.
Yeah, because a marvelous time doesn't really make much sense. At first, it kind of did, but the more I've thought about it, the more I think day.
Okay, so have a marvelous day and see you in the post credits.
And we'll see you in the post credits. Yeah. Post credit scene.
Post credit scene.
Check.
Got the check, Feige. You gotta add the Feige on there.
I don't know why, because you make it sound like it's a personal attack when you use his last name.
No, it's not a personal attack.
Feige.
He just is the master of all things MCU.
I think just all things life, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his hat game on point. He doesn't have the hair game on point, though.
Oh, wow. I was going to use this clip, but I don't know if I should anymore.
He's okay with it.
We ready? I don't know. We ready to go?
Yeah.
Excelsior! You know why?
What does that mean, even?
It's Stanley. It's just like it's like a war crown. It's like Excelsior.
Like,
I was almost gonna say Excelsior.
It means something in some language, though. I would think.
I imagine so.
Like Italian.
I don't know.
Or Spanish.
It means that's a spicy meatball.
It's a spicy meatball. Maria la Guerra.
I am the hammer lifting Travis now.
Hammer lifting.
Well, that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie when they're trying to lift the hammer. We're
talking
Avengers 2.
We are talking Avengers 2. I am the brainwashed Dylan Musk.
Good.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Wow.
This is a real panic right now.
It's like he had no idea what was coming next. Like, we even went first.
I'll help you out. We're doing a podcast, and speaking is usually...
And we have nicknames before we say our actual name.
Right.
Oh, I got it.
Oh no. This is fucking...
I am the...
This is fucking scary, folks. You got diarrhea?
I am the... Help me out, big guy. No, I am not... I am... The sun's getting real low, Taylor. Yeah!
Help me out, big guy. Wow. Of all the names to choose, you know, with all those minutes you have, to select one. And you go with that. Well, it's going to be a 2-man cast now. I think Travis is actually dead.
Oh my god.
He's laughing about as hard as the wig scene in 2 minutes. That's the double. 2 quick ones. Well, while Travis dies,
Okay, what?
Oh god.
Yes.
What were you saying there, Dylan?
I was saying, you know, welcome to the Marvel Retrospective.
We're moving past.
We have to at some point. We have to at some point. If you haven't been to one of these before, we are reviewing all of the Marvel movies up until Ant-Man. For everything after that, we reviewed, you know, live on cast. Everything else was before we had the Geekverse. So we're going back. We're doing all of them. We're almost done. We're on Avengers 2 right now.
In honor of Infinity War.
Age of Ultron, yeah. In
Weeks
honor
away.
of Infinity War, yes, which I'm gonna miss, sadly enough. But
because he's dying.
I don't know what he said.
he tried to say dying.
Oh really?
He's giving one life for $1 million.
Oh god.
Oh no, this is already a mess.
Now he's dead.
Well,
do they know what movie we're actually reviewing today?
yeah, Avengers 2, Avengers Age of Ultron, which is a classic. Taylor, what do you think of Avengers Age of Ultron? Now, we have some perspective now because we've seen about 8 movies after it and we've seen every movie before it. So how does it fit in?
I think it came really, really quick after the first Avengers. I don't know.
Really? 3 years?
That's pretty quick.
It's the same space in between this and Infinity War.
Really?
Yeah,
It's
2015 to 2018.
And same between Avengers 1 and the Dawn.
I guess I kind of forget that there's the Avengers in the middle, and I think there's Avengers 1 then Infinity War.
Maybe it's because
You
Guardians...
just forget everything.
Maybe you feel that way because Guardians has really no impact on this Avengers movie.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it's just, I guess, with Civil War being out, I mean, it feels... The only thing that really makes it feel like an Avengers movie is Hulk and Thor. That's essentially it. So, I mean, Civil War feels...
Really?
Civil...
That's it. Not the
wild.
fact that they're working together as a team in the movie. The fact that Hulk and Thor in it. What the fuck is happening? We have 3 episodes.
Well, you think about it, that's... If Thor and Hulk were in Civil War, then you could call it an Avengers movie. But they weren't, so it wasn't...
I mean, you
Avengers.
can still call it an Avengers movie because
Yeah.
there's Avengers in the movie.
Yeah, I
Oh.
could still think Avengers or Civil War is like Avengers 2.5.
That's how I've always thought of it.
Yeah, I'm 100%
Personally.
Oh, okay.
Help me out, big guy.
But yeah, no, I think as far as the super movies go, I think it's definitely one that I think it's kind of swept under the rug, but I really liked this movie, and I thought, Ultron as a villain or in a character, he was pretty cool. I was very intrigued by the way he thought about things and everything like that.
You sound like you
Trail off.
You sound like someone made you say it and you didn't want to say it. Like, oh yeah, James Spader, I'll say this on the guest star.
But I think it was overall it was a very good deep story that really dived into more of Iron Man, Tony Stark's kind of psyche after the events with first Avengers and Iron Man 3. Just kind of I don't know. I think they tackled a lot of really cool things, and I'm very excited to talk about it. Yes.
Cool. Yeah, as for myself, I think this movie, obviously compared to the first Avengers, has so many more characters. And, that's a good thing in some respects, but in other respects, a lot of them kind of just get pushed. Some of them even get pushed so far that they're off the screen. They're not even, in the movie at all. And that's kind of disappointing. That's something I kind of realized, watching again just yesterday, is that, some characters War Machine or... Falcon or, they, where are they in this movie? They're just completely absent, and you would think, within the MCU and what's going on, that they really should be there, and it would make sense for them to be there. I don't know, that's how I felt watching
I don't think
them.
so, because they're just side characters in the other movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
but don't you think that they, logically they should be there to help with this, potentially world-ending thing? That they, Falcon going off doing, random rogue missions, he should probably be here instead,
War
helping
Machine
them.
does show up though, right? At the end there, so I guess
Sorry, Falcon at least. Because Falcon, he's off doing rogue missions.
by
why
the time
isn't
he gets
here?
back,
And War Machine's barely in it either.
Yeah, I think it's just because that's what the end of the movie is for, to show that okay, they're officially part of the team. So when we do need them, we'll call them and name for Civil War. We're technically Rhodey's still doing army stuff, right? And
Yeah.
what if Falcon is in Russia, and then this is going down? It might take. Well, I don't know how close Russia's close to Sokovia.
Well, Sokovia is a fictional Eastern European
So
place,
let's
so
just
it's
say
not
he's
that
in
far.
Rutland, and
He's in
oh
Rutland.
man, Sokovia's going down. It might take a little farther for him to get there, So
Yeah, but I feel like it doesn't really take the Avengers that long to get anywhere
fair
with all
enough.
their tech and whatnot.
Falcon does Falcon fly or does he glide?
He flies.
He flies and glides.
Okay.
He initiates the flying and then he kind of glides down.
Okay.
He kind of drifts to conserve energy or something.
I just think in a race between him and Iron Man and War Machine, they're gonna get there much faster.
Well, they have
Falcon.
yeah.
Well, if you think about Civil War, remember when Falcon was chasing after War Machine? Then Vision shot War Machine down? So he was keeping alive.
Whoa, spoiler.
Okay, maybe whiskey. I'll look back because I only watched Civil War before Infinity War, so yeah, I'll keep an eye on Falcon's flight patterns. But Dylan must continue. I just want
As for the main, the main squad, the people who were in Avengers 1, I think they get a lot of really good moments together, a lot of development, especially for Hawkeye, who was maybe a little left behind in the first movie. I love Vision. I think he's a great character, and I think the spawning of him in this movie, and even though it's only kind of in the last like third or quarter of the movie, is still good. I'm iffy on Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch, I'm obviously big bias because I love her powers and I think she looks really cool. But really, like character wise, not a whole lot there. Like it's kind of disappointing as someone who like her powers like within this world are probably my favorite, but like character wise, not really there. And I really don't like Quicksilver honestly, but. We'll talk more about that. Ultron, I actually like Ultron enough. He's not the best villain in the MCU, but I think he's interesting. He's different. It's different from what you'd expect from like a robotic type villain. Like he has a lot of personality. And I think at first I feel like when I watched this movie back in the day, I think it was strange to me or jarring, or I didn't like it a whole lot. But upon some more time, I think I actually have grown to like it a lot more. And there's a lot of setup in this movie for like I guess the next phase of movies that are coming out. Like really for like most of them except for like Doctor Strange, I guess I feel like there's a lot of setup for Civil War, obviously between like Cap and Iron Man. There's kind of introducing Wakanda. I mean it's very brief, but it's still here.
Setting the stage.
There's inklings of it, breadcrumbs.
You see Claw.
Yeah, there's some really awesome fight scenes in this movie as well. And overall it's fun. It's not perfect, but I think with the amount of characters that were in this movie, while it wasn't done as well as Civil War, it's still enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for myself, I'm somebody I think similar to Taylor, where I defend this movie a lot because I'm the person. Maybe my cause with this podcast is to one, have a good time and enjoy and talk with the fans and just put out some good fun content like we always do. But two, the other thing is I just want to get back to the place where we can have good to decent to alright to bad to very bad to great movies or video games. I think, and I'm not alone in saying that. I think for a while, I don't know, maybe even like from 2010 till about now, and I think it's starting to turn back around, but there's just always been this thing of like it has to be the best or the worst. And I think that was always my thing with Avengers Age of Ultron, that I know a lot of people that don't like this movie, and I do understand, but I do feel similar to this, not as strongly because I like The Last Jedi a lot more, but the same way as Avengers, there's lots of great moments in this movie and character moments, and that thing where like for me it's not a complete write-off. I can't say that's a bad movie or it sucks, because to me a bad movie is not shot well, it's not acted well, it's not written well. Those things are not the case here. Yeah, there's sometimes where writing could have been a bit better, or a character moment could have changed a bit, or maybe we could have saved something for another movie. So yeah, there's things where you can point out, but to me, for this to be like a bad movie or not even to be that good, for me, it just doesn't check any of the boxes. But it is still like lower in my MCU rankings. Like I'm not gonna spoil where it is, but when we do the rankings, I think it will be in, if we put them into like kind of halves, where it's like the great to the good to, and I don't think there's any bad, just alright to decent. It's definitely in there. It's definitely one of the lower ones because I rewatched it. Not that much, honestly, when I really think about it from other Marvel ones, where there's moments I want to watch from this movie, but there's not things where with Winter Soldier, that's where I want to start from beginning to end and watch it all. Guardians begin to end, Black Panther, Civil War, even Iron Man, where there's times where I didn't check out now, but there's times where if I wasn't reviewing it, I'd check out and go get my phone. I try not to do that when I'm reviewing, unless like it's some emergency or something, but I'll be like, okay, no, and then, but there were times where like, oh, I would check Twitter right now, or whatnot. Ultron, for me, I'm the reverse with Dylan, where I understood what they're going for. He's very much like Tony Stark, so it's kind of like a Black Mirror sort of image. And when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this is alright, it's different, but I can get used to and warm up to it. But with each watch, I have disliked him more and more, and I don't know why with this watch, I actually was quite annoyed with him, and I did my villain rankings as well, because our last episode before Infinity War will be a rankings one, and he's really low where I have him. Like, there's people that I didn't think I would have above him, but I do, and it's just because, and I'll admit I'm complete bias, I've read him from the comics, he is that very stoic, robotic sort of deal, but I guess for me it was just, I didn't like this is where the humor hurt me sometimes, and I didn't like that he was quippy. I didn't like when he takes Claw's arm off, spoilers. Like, he like, right away, it's like for a joke, right? Oh, I'm sorry, like, does that hurt? Like, that for me kills any tension when he's very serious and very dramatic. And I get it, because it's supposed to be like a similar Tony Stark. It just kills it for me. Also, again, more of that later. I think that's one of their weak points. If one day we ever do, like, the strong weak points of Marvel, introducing new characters, if it's not a solo movie or if it's not Guardians, I don't think they do a good job. Black Widow, Falcon, and then for me, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, and for me, even Vision. I feel like they're all fine, but I never feel fully invested in them till later movies. You know, like it wasn't until Winter Soldier I was invested in Widow. It wasn't until Civil War I was invested in Falcon. Same thing. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in this movie are just they're just kind of there, and their storyline. Okay, they lost their parents, fine, but like it's just so like hamstrung on, and it's just in the corner there, and it just goes away so quickly. Like all their motivation. The actual main cast, I really enjoy. There's some great moments there. That's why it's my nickname. I love the party scene. I could legitimately watch a 2-hour Avengers just like comedy movie of just them hanging out. Like I don't need the fire one out. Like that whole scene from beginning to end when they're going around drinking, everything like that, phenomenal. Like they point out Tony Stark has a good arc in there. Banner and Black Widow we can get into. I don't hate it as much as everyone else, but I don't know what we can talk about. I don't know if the romance was needed in it or not, because we just have so much other stuff going on, right? And to me, when a romance happens in a movie, that does take up a big portion, and that is the big driving force for those two characters in this movie. Thor, I think, is the only one that kind of gets left back a little bit, because he goes off and does his own thing for half the movie, and that really kills whatever's going on with him. I think Cap and Tony have good chemistry.
I kind of forgot about that just because of how much other stuff is going on.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about it.
Yeah, they have good chemistry. Obviously, it's a big setup to Civil War. And then Cap alone is just great as the leader. Another reason why I'll defend this movie is because I'm a huge Hawkeye fan of the comics. I like Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye. And I think some people, you either, with the house stuff with his family, you either really like it or you don't. I'm in that camp where I really, really like it. And that's one of the better parts of the movie for me. And then the main part is, before we end, I guess my ending of overall is, I think this feels like the episode before a TV finale and the finale Civil War. And I think it's warranted because you have to do that in these movies where it's all about a universe. But at the same time, they didn't get into like BVS territory where there was too much setup. But there was times where this did just feel like this movie is just to get us from point A to point B, right? It's not even B. It's just like, it's the little detour. You make a pit stop, you use the washroom, buy some snacks, and then you keep going. Like, it does feel like at times, and I remember even watching it, maybe it's just because they announced it, it was just, man, I can't wait for Civil War. And it seems like Civil War was somewhat almost more of a focus in this movie at times to really hit over the head that, hey, these heroes are disagreeing about stuff, you know, and then it'll pay off later. And that's where Ultron, for a while too, kind of feels like he takes the back seat. So I like the movie still. I don't know if I could say I really like it. I really like parts of it, and some moments in here are fantastic, and other kind of slog, and there's some choices which we'll talk about that I think are, I don't know, it could have, like I said, span out over different movies, or maybe we didn't need them, so yeah.
Nice.
I don't know where we want to start, because this movie has a lot.
There's so many places to start.
I want to start just because I don't want to retread it later. Let's start with Ultron, because I kind of said my point, and then you guys go and I'll talk with you guys. But what do you guys think about Ultron? Because Taylor, you said that you liked him, and Dylan, you kind of turned the corner on a bit as far as like liking him more. So what are the positives for you guys, I guess?
Go ahead, Taylor.
You know, I think his whole kind of the way he approaches situations and his whole kind of dialogue I thought was very, very cool and attractive. I thought his innocence and unpredictability made him very scary as a villain and much more dangerous, I would say. So I like the scene when he cuts Claw's arm off. I think, you know, it's funny because he doesn't know his own power and his own limitations. At the same time, he's learning them. And yes, it does have that dark kind of Tony Stark humor involved with it. But I like how he's constantly learning, even though he's learned almost everything within the first seconds of his existence. And it's just a cool thing to see how it is very different from your usual robot that you'd see in the movies. And he's, as far as the villains go, I'm just trying to think, like,
where is he in your...
Well, not where he is in my ranking, but, like, as far as a threat for the Avengers, I don't think, like, the fact that he has Sokovia, like, on all fronts blowing up, I mean, that's excessive. But in comparison to, like, the Jatari and stuff like that, I think Loki was much larger scale than...
I don't know, but I think that for me that's my problem, that he brings the same scale as Avengers, and I think that's some of the problems with this movie that ends in, like, another big alien sort of fight. They just replace them for robots, right? And I guess that's where I can completely admit I'm biased. In comics, Ultron most of the time can just take on the Avengers alone, just because he's that powerful. And I always thought that would have been a good route to go, because I think that's why Civil War is good, because that finale of that movie is 3 dudes fighting, right? Where this is like, it kind of retreads the same thing, so I think it kind of hurts him as like a threat, because it's just like, well, we've seen them overcome this before, right? So they could do it again with Ultron.
And
like,
it's also, since Iron Man 3 was just a little bit ago, and we talked about this as well, how at the end of that movie, Iron Man decides to destroy all of his suits, and in this movie he just has, I mean, it's not the same thing, not like the different marks or whatever, but it's still like, just like, it's pretty much the exact same thing with a slightly different color of paint.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, why are all these robots back again? I thought he, made the decision to get rid of all of them.
And they're just hammer drones, too. Like, remember when Whiplash wanted to just make them drones and, like, not have anyone in the suit?
They were called Iron Guardians.
No, but I mean the idea... Like, they're just, Hammer wanted guys in the suits, but Whiplash was like, no, like, just drones work better. Like, and that's exactly what he just did. So it's like, I don't know, I felt like those suits worked a lot better even without someone piloting than these robots who just got sprayed with acid and they just be like, everything's alright. Like, I don't know what happens. And that's one thing where with Iron Man 3, you don't need all these suits for you, but, like, if you're still trying, because his whole thing in this movie, I'll say that because we're not talking about Tony, because there is a little flaws there with
that. Well, that is an interesting point.
Because his whole idea is his whole motivation in this movie is he wants to protect the world, right? And he wants to protect his friends. But in Iron Man 3, he does everything to negate that, and it's like, well, no, like we're just gonna get rid of this, and I'll be Tony Stark now. Even in the beginning of the movie, it doesn't explain why is he on this mission with them. Like
right.
Yeah.
I guess, well, that's an interesting thing of, like, all these movies, Avengers, and you could say, I guess, like in Wonder Woman or, what's the other big one that just came out?
Black Panther?
Justice League, that's what I was looking for. And Avengers 2, like, there's always, like an army of guys that have to be fought, and I'm curious what a movie like that, a big team-up movie would be if it was just fighting one guy who's, like, super powerful, and obviously we're not really getting that in Infinity War because there's, like, an army of aliens again.
Yeah.
And I understand why they do it, so that everyone can, have some cool shots of them, like, fucking up some aliens and whatnot.
Infinity War to me makes sense because it is, obviously, there's so many characters, you can't just have them versus Thanos. But to me, with this amount of characters, and I'm not saying just have to be Ultron, but when he had Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch at the disposal, that's something we talked about that, who knows if Justice League 2 ever happens, but that's why I applauded the post-credit scene, because it seemed like they were setting up, like, oh, they're going to do a Justice League versus the main villains, and not just cannon fodder. And not even the idea of, okay, maybe it's just 3 people, but if it's a Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and Ultron, it's 3 powered, strong people instead of just robots that really they're just there to bang and clang, which is fine, that's cool, but and the other thing is too, because it's the ending of the movie, right? Maybe at some point if you had those robots, they took them out, it's like, okay, it's just down to Ultron, but Ultron, when he does versus the Avengers, he kind of gets destroyed really easily by Vision and Thor.
It's true, yeah. He doesn't really have a whole lot of fight scenes, especially of, like, just him, because even in the earlier, like, that weapons base that they're at earlier, like, the big fighting moment of that is that Scarlet Witch kind of mind controls all of them. They have those visions instead. Yeah, like, he doesn't really do anything. So from that perspective, yeah, he definitely falls short, and instead we're just, classic cannon fodder, watching them destroy cannon fodder, which is,
it's fine if that's the job.
It's fine, but obviously you can't always have, like, a Civil War where your big fight scenes are between, like, all the cast, because obviously there's a lot more to it. You can't just do that. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'd like to see that in a movie where instead of, like, either have, like, the big guy with maybe a couple goons who are more fleshed out characters, or just have someone, like, one guy's super powerful, and
it's kind
think about like really how you can make that so it's an interesting. Everyone has, like, cool action shots, but that's one thing. Like, even the start of this movie, it starts with an action scene, and like every Marvel movie has to have one of these. Like, it's just part of their formula, I guess, and it has to be within the first, like, half an hour, it seems. Like, I think every single Marvel movie has that, except for, like, maybe Ant-Man. I'm just thinking right now is, like, the only one that might not have, like, a...
But I imagine he does the heist in the first half an hour, so I'd count that as
there's still, like,
scene.
an action moment,
Well, and that's one thing, as far... I lost it.
Well, so I guess, as for Ultron myself, I really like the voice. I think the way he, like, enunciates things and, like, highlights certain words is interesting, and it's different because it's not something you would expect from, like, a robotic character like that, but I think it worked. And I'll agree that his humor didn't always hit for me. It was, I don't know, maybe 50-50. I mean, he doesn't really have tons and tons of jokes, I guess.
I think he does. I think he jokes as just as much as he talks serious, because he's just always, like, it's, for me, like, the little quips, it's just even just stuff he says that I should have wrote down a bunch of examples, but I just feel like he's always kind of has a comedic tone to him until every once in a while he'll be super serious, like I'm gonna perish the world and blah blah blah. But
I think it's a bit different because they're not lines that are written to like intentionally cause everyone to like laugh at everything he's saying, right? But it's just like he kind of has like a smart ass tone to him.
That's why I don't. It's the example of.
I think I like it because of the fact that he is like a spawn of Tony.
Yeah,
right?
I just don't like that. Yeah. My example is like when he's flying away and then Hulk like jumps in the ship and he's running after him and Ultron's like, oh my god, not again. Like it's just like little one lines like that he constantly says that, or maybe even add in later. That's the stuff I don't like because it's just it reminds me. It's not as bad, but sometimes it reminds me of Flash and Justice League, where it's like he's just always going, he's always talking. And I like the beginning when he is super serious, and I understand a bit of the Tony Stark stuff, but I
guess the reason it works for me is because it makes sense from the character, what that character is, right? He, like Taylor said, like within his first seconds of being alive or conscious, he's like downloaded all this information and knows like more than most people would in their entire life. But obviously he's still not a human. He didn't like grow up and learn social interactions or anything like that. He's kind of just a culmination of like whatever data he had access to, which I don't know is how much, but I guess it makes sense for him to like have a strange way to talk that isn't really regular. I don't know. Yeah. So it worked for me for the most part, and I like his plot because it is a world ending. It is a classic world ending, but I feel like they put some more thought behind it, and it's at least interesting for me to think about. How it like starts and how he wants to cause like the next evolution, and I don't know. I guess it is sort of like a twist of Sokovia's lifting up, and they initially think he's just gonna let it collapse and smash, but then the higher it goes, like the more catastrophic the blast will be, and destroy the whole planet and everyone on it. I don't know. I think that's a interesting like point of tension. Yeah. I guess, and I like how it kind of culminates at the end, and so he's not a perfect villain by any means, but I've watched this movie a couple times in the last couple weeks, and I never had that effect that you did where I was liking him less and less every time. I mean, I haven't watched it nearly as much as you have, I would imagine. But, he's fine.
Well, I will say, too, the one thing that I forgot earlier that I think with Infinity War, because Thanos does have, like, his children there, and that's the thing where it's, like, the Black Order, and maybe we're going to get that where they're going to have 3 to 4 other guys that are like semi-powerful, but not just the cannon fodder.
Have a little bit of personality.
Yeah, and I will say it's funny because that's something that if before when the Avengers started, I would have like, or even all these superhero craze would have been like, oh yeah, don't do the whole superhero versus supervillain thing because that'll be too many or anything like that. And nobody now I really want that, but it's funny that between Fox, Marvel, DC have really done that yet. And I think the perfect example would be for that is just doing Civil War, but having the bad guys on the other side. Like that airport scene, you could do that with bad guys on the other side. So that was one. And the other thing, too, when you brought up, like, it's a world-ending thing. For me, I never have a problem for world-ending issues if it's a crossover. My thing is, like, with DC, it was like, okay, take out Justice League, it was like, Man of Steel, Suicide Squad, and then BVS, and then Justice League. And I was like, well, the world's always ending, so why should I feel like peril? Obviously, it's a little less impactful because, in Avengers, we just had the world almost end there, right? But even after that, we didn't. We had Hydra who wanted to take out, and Winter Soldier wanted to take out some people that they thought were threats, but they weren't going to kill everybody. Iron Man 3, I don't think we really knew what Mandarin's Alex Kensington. We don't really know what his endgame really was. Guardians, obviously, that's just it is a world-ending thing, but just for a planet, it's not for, and it's different because it's space. What else do we have in between? Thor, Dark World, I don't know what Malekith's fucking plan was. We'll never, I guess he wanted to end the world, but it didn't feel like that, so to me,
I can't remember it.
Yeah, again, it felt like that in the previous movies that we just watched between Avengers and then, it didn't feel like we had a bunch of world-ending scenarios, right? So for me, that's why, whether it's this or Infinity War, because even Civil War, there's not a world-ending scenario. It's about a guy who's trying to avenge his family, right? So I have no problem, even with Justice League, that was not a problem for me. It's like, okay, we have to do this now, we've already done it, but I think that these are the time. When Avengers in the title, that's when I am expecting, okay, the world should be at peril, but maybe just this robot I thought by himself could probably still do it. And you didn't need, I don't know, because he's tied to him, I don't know if you needed Vision in this movie. You need Vision because he's tied to Ultron and that's his origin, but for me, I thought Vision, just because he comes in there so much at the end, I feel like we don't really have to learn much about him. It's just, he's a part of the team, let's go, and he's just kind of flying around, and there's some weird scene where Ultron throws him to the ground, and he's like knocked out for quite a while, and they don't really explain that. And I just feel like even for Vision as a character, they don't really explain much to the audience of who he is or how he is. He's just like, well, we made him, and he has this, genetic material in him, and that's about it. And I like his back.
I don't know. I think they bring up the Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
And like Thor comments on that.
Well, Thor definitely brings up the Infinity Stone. Yeah.
It's a Mind Stone, yeah.
Yeah. Taylor, did you have anything to add on Ultron or world-ending scenario or hero versus villain or any of the topics?
A lot of topics.
Yep. It's like this movie.
World-ending scenarios, I think you're right. It's always, the Avengers movies that bring the world-ending thing. I was thinking like other movies, and I'm like, yeah, Abomination wasn't thinking world-ending in his movie.
He's just smashing.
Just smashing.
Banging and clanging.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And heroes versus villains kind of thing,
You don't have to talk about all of them. I just laid out if you wanted to. But if you feel like you don't have anything to say, you don't have to.
Well, no, I got some stuff that popped up, yeah, heroes and villains, that's good. What was the other thing you said?
Stuff that popped up. You lied. Nothing popped up. You just said it was good.
No, not for that. But what was the
and then
thing?
just Ultron.
And Ultron, yes. Yeah. I pretty much already talked about him. But,
well, then do you need to talk about more?
I thought you said one more thing. Well, the heroes and villains thing, I think it's very cool to think like that. Like, you could put all these villains together in that airport scene and they could go at it, but it doesn't carry the same weight as the heroes and heroes.
No, but you could have that similar when people would be like, how would that action scene work? Because obviously cannon fodder is easier, right? For Cap just to go around and kill 10 robots. Make it so that you have duels with these individual characters. Or like in the airport scene, how, okay, Black Widow and Hawkeye are fighting, and then they'd switch and fight someone else. That's what I mean.
If you want it to be impactful, you would have to switch up like the formula of MCU because one, you have to not kill your villains, and they love killing the villains.
I think you bring back Zemo, you bring back Abomination,
Red Skull.
Yeah, you bring back Red Skull. That's kind of weird, but like it could work. Killmonger would have been a perfect situation, but if him
Vulture.
Yeah, Vulture. Like there's a few that you could. True. There's a few you could bring in, and
yeah, they're getting there now. Yeah,
Dylan's right. They definitely got to stall. They love killing people.
Well, they just need to introduce some, goons and make them more interesting, like, Shocker.
Yeah, exactly.
Shocker needs to be cooler.
Yeah, because they can have, like, lower tier, like, if Falcon and Hawkeye and Black Widow get to be on the fucking Civil War poster, like, a cool-ass Shocker could have been in the Masters of Evil, which it is called in the comic books, but... Yeah, I think they could start building to it, and they gotta do different ideas. And I think that's the problem with the Ultron thing I have. It's just at the end, it is a different idea of how he's gonna do it, and that to me still makes it interesting. But it's still one main bad guy, Ultron Loki versus aliens versus robots, and you get your cool action shots, and it doesn't feel. The scope is huge, and I love that, and like the actual shooting and the action is great. But I think it doesn't, for me, feel as intense as New York did. New York just felt like, and obviously, again, it's because the first time you see them all together, but something about Sokovia...
It's their hometown, I guess.
Yeah, something about Sokovia just felt so clean, especially when there's just one moment where Scarlet Witch is guarding that, like, thing by herself, and she's, like, fighting the Ultron things, like the robots, and then when Quicksilver dies, she gets really upset, and she falls on her knees and bursts them all away, and that's really cool, but she wasn't doing that the whole time, so, like, how is she, like... It's just something about it does not feel as natural as the New York one did, where it's all sprawled out and everyone's all over, where when it's just focused on this one little room, for me it's a little like, it just wasn't the most...
They kind of walk around the streets, and then there's, like, kind of that other set where, they're trying to board people onto the spaceship.
I like that. Or they get shot around the streets.
I agree, New York's more interesting and it's more familiar.
Yeah,
as opposed to Sokovia, which is a, fictional place, which...
is, to some people.
To some people, this is the first time it comes up, and then, it does come up later with, Zemo.
And so that's where again, like I feel like Scarlet Witch is good down the line. I feel like Vision is good down the line, but I feel like a lot of stuff that is introduced in this movie is kind of. I think it's just because there's so much. There's just so much.
There's a lot.
It's literally a buffet of stuff, and that's what you feel like. You feel completely full at the end. You're like, man, I just ate a lot of stuff. I don't even know what I put in my.
That's how I feel. I had like a lot of dinner tonight, and I was feeling like way too full. Now I've simmered down and I'm a bit better. But that's a quick personal fact.
Alright, were you done saying what you wanted, Taylor? No?
No, what were you gonna say?
No, I said, were you done saying?
I was just gonna talk about Vision, but
okay.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, between the tones of the two films, I think the first Avengers was definitely a more bright, vibrant. This one felt completely darker and more shadier, I'd say.
I'll say it felt that way. I won't say complete. I can't throw the word complete in front of it.
I don't know if I'd use the word shadier.
Yeah, shadier.
No?
No.
Because I think of shady as like kind of
Sus.
Yeah.
Like you're doing it for people that aren't hip. You're doing stuff that you wouldn't want to tell anybody, or you might think it's wrong.
Like I know shady like physically means, you know, to have shade on something, but I think there's kind of a connotation now that shady. Because when you say dark and shady, anyway.
Yeah. I meant like the
really
atmosphere of the film.
Right.
You're right. I should have worded that better.
Vision.
No, the thing is you worded it fine. It's just, you know,
Yeah.
how conversation and language evolves over time, and how the definition of shady has changed to something else in 2018's market of
Indeed.
vocabulary, if you will. Vision. I love Vision's look. He's probably the coolest looking dude in all of these movies. Honestly, I mean, I'd have to really think about it, but I just said off the top of my head because I feel like he's at least warranted to be up there. I love his look, and I think it's really cool how his voice is, you know, that of Jarvis, who's been, I guess, like a character who's been around for
Iron Man 1.
yeah, he's in the very first. Yeah, so I think that's I remember when I first saw Avengers 2 and how like that voice got turned into a physical being was really cool to me, and it still is. I think that's awesome, and I love. I don't know. He's obviously like a different type of life form altogether because he's not alien, he's not human, he's not robot. He's just
A humanoid.
I am, as he says, and yeah, I love the way he taught. Like I love the scene they ask, you know, whose side are you on? And he says, "I'm on the side of humanity." And
Didn't he say
Ultron is-
life?
I think he said like.
I don't know, whatever his name is. I'm not quoting here.
you did just try
He
to
says-
quote. I'm on the
He
side
says
of life.
he says, "I'm on the side of life."
Okay.
And Ultron, you know, you guys fucked it up. But I like that section. And yes, you're right. Like he's not in like most of the movie, and obviously I want to see more of him. I really want a movie of like him and Scarlet Witch now that they kind of have something. Just because I want more of those characters.
Too
So
bad Vision's gonna die.
oh yikes!
You need that stone.
He does have that mind stone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, darn. Well, I hope he doesn't die. I hope there's some other way he can work around that. I mean, I'm gonna throw a Duracell battery in there and he'll be good to go. I'm not sure, but Vision, I like Vision.
Yeah,
It's fun.
I like what you said at the Jarvis thing. One, I'll bring
Oh,
up.
one quick one. I love how when he's just like floating around when he first gets spawned. He sees Thor, and then he kind of just fabricates that quick cloak
Yeah, that's
behind
cool.
him. I think that's really
Yeah.
sweet.
I like the Jarvis thing. I think my problem is with the Fallout movies. I wish they called back on that more as far as him and Tony. Granted, we've only had Civil War
Yeah,
with
that's a good
Vision
point,
in it.
yeah.
I just wish there was more like they've kind of made it sound like Jarvis. I think has been with Tony Stark for quite a while, and people try to escalate, and some people think like he could have even been with him since he was like as a teenager because Tony started this when he was I think 21 or something like that.
Okay.
So like obviously past teenager, but we don't know the lifespan of Jarvis. So I wish there was more callback on that, and I wish they were a bit closer. Maybe we'll see that, but I don't know because I think they both have a chance of going. And two, I do like Vision as a character. I think it's just he comes in so late in the game, and like I said, it's him being a part of the team. When you have those action shots of everyone together, and you have like Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Vision in the action shot when everyone's flipping everything, it doesn't feel warranted at all. It doesn't feel like to me like that spin around shot where it's like, oh, all other than Hawkeye and Black Widow, it's like all these people we've been wanting to see together are finally together. When we just meet Vision literally 10 minutes ago, and it's like he's a part of the team and he's in these cool action shots. It just kind of feels like they're trying to not force him down your throat, but just like, yeah, he's one of the cool kids now. You know, it's like, well, he kind of has to earn it a bit. And we don't know, and I have no reason to invest in this character other than he is super cool and like taking out my comic book bias because I love Vision in the comic book. They nail the cadence of his speech, they nail how he thinks and how he speaks. But I think it happened too fast, and I think that there's a version of this movie where you could take out some other stuff, and it could happen maybe in the middle. I think also we'll talk about later in my notes, like stuff like what Thor was doing, you could easily take out. I guess some people maybe take out the Hawkeye house stuff, that's fine. You could even take out just the Avengers being on run in general, or on the run in general. I don't know. I think the Vision thing works enough, but I feel like it's similar.
It gets so hard to justify what should be given screen time and what shouldn't.
Yeah. Because some of that stuff I like, right? Like the Hawkeye
We
stuff.
don't know
I
what the
really
movie
like.
would look like if Vision had 30 more minutes of screen time and what gets cut. I mean, you mentioned there is some things other people don't like.
Yeah.
But once again, when you do that, you're gonna make other people pissed off. And no matter what, there's gonna be some issue.
And I think the other people that it worked out in the long run, and we'll talk about them. I'll let you talk about Vision first, and maybe we'll talk about them next. But I think the twins and their screen time that's something to me that could have been cut. Again, it's like, no, because I like Scarlet Witch, I end up liking her in the future, but I don't love that character, because in the movie, she's been in 2 movies, and there's not much to go off on her, right? And Quicksilver, just every time I watch this, feels like such a fucking waste of time. Like, anyways, I'll say that.
Vision.
I think if you could have cut them when I saw the screen time, if they weren't in the movie, you could have maybe gave him a lot more of that, but yeah.
I quite enjoy Vision. I think he's a very interesting, unique character. Just how he's kind of created and everything. I'm still wondering, like, what triggered Thor to kind of help and make him alive.
Because he says that it's like a really like wild.
My assumption was that he was like listening in on what Banner and Stark are like talking about, and he agrees with them, or he's on their side.
Well,
he was
remember,
against it though at the beginning.
He was, but remember the main thing is he's like that's the problem with it. Doesn't make much sense in his mind. He says he wants the Infinity Stone to be safe and not in the hands of Thanos or anybody like that. And the problem is that sounds great because it's plot armor, but if Vision was just another Ultron, then it's like, well, the stone's not safe at all, and it's just kind of out. So it's Thor like kind of jumping in with both feet, just hoping Banner and Stark, right? Where in the beginning of the film, he doesn't agree with them at all.
Yeah,
it doesn't make much sense. Like, I hate the Thor stuff in this movie. Like, I know I keep hitting that, but like his whole visions and all this, like, especially now, it's like Iron Man 3. It doesn't lead to anything. It doesn't make much sense. Like, all those visions got us to know is, okay, that's an Infinity Stone. It's like, well, we probably could have just found out about that in Infinity War. You know, like, I think we all would have figured it out. Like, he has it in his fucking mind. There's a Mind Stone. So, I think that's just plot armor why he decided. Because I don't know why he would actually decide to take a risk. Why wouldn't he take that to Asgard? He already has the Tesseract there. And I guess you don't want to keep 2 in one place, but there's nowhere else he could have thought to put the stone there.
Yeah, take it to nowhere, you know.
They already have one with the Collector.
Double up.
Yeah.
Leave it on Earth.
Just leave it on Earth. Yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah, he's like, leave it on Earth. We'll give it to Vision. Hopefully it's good.
Even though Earth is like the most sus place in the entire realms.
Yeah. He didn't know about Wakanda, you know?
Yeah,
so.
seriously.
Yeah, I had one big thing on him, but I can't remember what it is. But I think
Big guy.
I think like I said before, he's a very cool character. I like how he's he was just. You have Ultron, who's just like a darker version of Tony Stark, and you have Vision, who is very much like Ultron and not at all like Tony Stark, but opposite of Ultron and everything that's positive, I feel like, in many ways.
That actually made perfect sense to me.
Mind blown.
Yeah. Really?
Mind stone blown.
That doesn't happen very often here on the Geekverse.
He gets one a year.
I mean, I don't know if you said it in the most
No.
comprehensible way. Like, I feel like some viewers might be confused, but I
get what you're saying.
as a friend of Taylor,
Okay.
understood what you were going for.
Let us know in the comments. Do you get what Taylor's saying?
It's like kind of like a math. It's like an algebra equation. But
I totally didn't catch that part where you mentioned where he actually sees Thor and dons the cape. I think that's pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought he just
he just
cape.
kind of checks out Thor and he's like, that looks cool, man.
Checks
He just spawns it.
There was like a 2 to 3 minute fight scene that they cut of Thor and Vision in
At the
that
start.
moment. Yeah, which I thought was good because I don't think it fit Vision. Because he says a line, he's like, sorry, I wasn't myself.
Who
there.
initiates the fight?
I think Vision just kind of flies towards Thor.
And then Thor gets defensive.
Yeah, but I think it's insinuated that Vision, he does say, so he said, oh, sorry, I'm not myself, or something like that. And I think it was good they cut it because they didn't need them to fight.
I like that when he hands him the hammer.
Yeah.
Passes him the hammer.
Well, yeah, what does that mean then?
Well, I don't know. I like it for the comedic value. It pays off the joke, but I actually don't like it from the sense of, I think it's just.
I mean, Vision's pretty fucking powerful. He can just fly, naturally. The only other person who can do that is Thor, who is a god.
I think it's for me.
He has that crazy laser. I mean, that comes out of the Infinity Stone. It's an Infinity Stone.
But here's my argument, and this is where Tanner and I will fight about the Force all the time, or the Chose One. To me,
mitochondria. What is it called? Midichlorian.
Yeah, we'll fight about that too. For the Chose One, for Taylor, he always feels it's like a certain person or something like that, and I just feel like it's kind of an idea and a myth, and it's not really a real thing. It's just something that everyone's trying to strive towards. That's me with picking up the hammer. I never look at it as who is the strongest. I looked at it as who has the most heart and willpower, and that's why to me you see Cap nudge the hammer, right? And Cap has picked up the hammer in comic books. Other people have too.
Interesting.
But
I took it as like physical strength because Cap's clearly the strongest out of all.
I always took it at who had more merit in their heart, and that's why I've actually never liked Vision picking up because it just shows, because then Thanos should just be able to pick it up in Infinity War when he has the Gauntlet, and the Gauntlet fine, but
even that's fine.
I guess, but
I think if you have an Infinity Stone and it's like one of the most powerful things of all time.
But for me, the way that Owen has described
an Infinity Stone with a fucking hammer can destroy a planet with one hit. Why, if you have the power to contain an Infinity Stone, why would you not be able to pick up a hammer?
Because to me, the hammer has never been linked to actual power. It's been linked to heart, and that's why it's about the will of that person. Even Odin saying like they'll possess the power of Thor. It's not saying to be as powerful as Thor, the power of Thor. And to me, the power of Thor is him and himself and like his drive that he has. Right. I've never took it as, and that's the same in the comics. I've never took it as, hey, this guy's super. Because why can't Hulk pick it up? If Cap can nudge it, Hulk couldn't even fucking move it an inch in Avengers, right? So that's to me. I always picked it as that, and that's why I don't like that moment. Because like, well, okay, maybe Vision has the heart, but it's like I don't know this dude. I've known him for 2 minutes, like. Who the fuck knows if
he doesn't have the heart stone.
Yeah. So the popular game Mind Stone coming to a shop near you. But yeah, that's my problem with that problem. That's my problem with that scene. Taylor, where do you fall in that camp?
Well, you think I'd be opposite of you.
No, I think this one you might agree with me.
I definitely agree with you. I think it's definitely all in the heart, and.
But you're wrong about the Chosen One still.
No. I can't get into that. It's the wrong
Cantina Conversations. Go check it out.
But no, I think it's definitely all in the heart, and I think Vision's got a lot of heart. You know, like you said, he's on the side of life, and that's just all. Fair
enough.
It's almost more heart than Thor, because Thor likes to get drunk and stuff.
Wow. Then I still feel like Cap should have picked it up.
Getting drunk makes you not human.
Because Cap is like, until Civil War, he's one of the least selfish characters. I don't think he has a selfish bone in his body until Civil War.
Captain?
So, yeah, so like he should have picked it up. Captain!
Superman!
Yeah, Vision. Do you want to talk about Vision?
Yeah, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, twins. Let's talk about Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Let's talk about Quicksilver first because obviously Scarlet Witch, there's a bit more to get into. We have some other films. Quicksilver, I don't know if it is the timing of this was a year after Evan Peters. I do buy in that a little bit, but at the same time, I think that goes against it. It's another brick on top of like this like spaghetti that's like about to fold, and I think it does in this movie. Like
another brick on the spaghetti which is about to fold.
But I think if Evan Peters' Quicksilver does not exist, one, I guess I don't know if he actually survives because there's part of me that thinks they kill him off because there's already a popular Quicksilver over there, blah blah blah. But two, I just don't think he's that interesting. And Aaron Taylor Johnson, I'm a big fan of Kick-Ass. He was great last year or 2 years ago in Nocturnal Animals. But for a while, there was a time where he was in these movies like this and Godzilla, and I was
great.
He was not great in it, though.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Okay, well, in my opinion, he was not great. Yeah. He was very bland, and I feel he's kind of bland in this, too. Like, all he has is, like, the accent, and he has some quips, but, like, I feel like he doesn't even quip that well, and obviously his motivation in his story is the exact same as Scarlet Witch. They're twins, so they're identical in the way they're thinking in this movie. Not that that's a thing that happens in real life, but in this movie, that's what it is, where, okay, Stark killed their parents, or Stark weapons did. They're about to get killed, that bomb didn't go off, so now their lease on life is obviously fighting for Sokovia, but also kind of to stick it to Stark at some point, right?
Stark.
And that does happen, but then they have a turn where they realize, okay, Ultron is bad, or just as bad as Stark. And even, there's a great line in this movie where Scarlet Witch says, Ultron doesn't understand the difference between saving and destroying the world. Where do you think he gets that from? Mm-hmm. And I get that, but then, and they have a little tension, but once it's crunch time, there's no fucks given about teaming with Tony Stark. There's not even any tension at all in Civil War for Scarlet Witch that, yeah, she's on Team Cap, but it's never brought up again of like, hey, you killed our parents, like, we want to work, like, they don't even say physically, like, we will work with you to stop Ultron, but just because of Ultron, not because you, like, they don't even have a scene, like, their whole motivation is about Stark. They don't even have a scene with him, really. Like, I can't even think of a scene where it's Robert Downey talking to those twins, and that's what I needed, I think, was a bit more heart from them, because it's like, we really want to stop Stark, and we're with Ultron. It's like, well, we really want to stop Ultron now, so we're with Stark. It just, they switch so quick, and we get so little of those characters.
I kind of understand the switch in that, you know, she reads Vision's mind, I think it is, and that's when she sees like the bomb coming down, and then it makes sense for them to like just kind of blindly be on, you know, the Avengers side in that moment, or, you know, for defending Sokovia, so it makes sense. I think the problem is for me that there's like no really other point in the movie where they're like personalities are developed at all. So even though the switches do make sense, they still do feel like way too quick.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really feel like quick. It doesn't really feel like it's, wavering up and down. It just is like, 180 degree switch. And so that's
because they
where
feel
it's
like
kind
the
of
same
unfortunate.
people when they're on the other side. They're fighting for the good guys now.
Yeah, exactly, because they don't really have much in the way of like personality. Like Quicksilver's, I honestly, like the way he delivers those lines. I get the feeling, like, to me it feels like the actor thinks he's like too cool. That he's like too cool for this movie or something.
Like his agent said, you should really be an Avengers. Like, oh, I don't really want to do it, but it's like that would be great for your career. And I don't think he's one of the most forgettable things about the MCU. And like as bad as it is,
like every scene he has, I don't like.
Yeah, like
I don't like the look of his powers. Obviously, it's hard to compare to the Quicksilver that X-Men has, which is so much better.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that they
even his suit
kill him
though.
off.
It's
I know
like
he doesn't look cool.
And he has
the way he delivers every line, the lines that he actually does have, he's super lame. And Scarlet Witch, I obviously I've mentioned before. I like her powers. I like her look and stuff like that. Her accent, I think sometimes, she's still working on it.
Yeah.
And she as well doesn't really have a whole lot of personality. I think it's really, I think the switch makes so much sense from her perspective, obviously, because we can't really experience exactly what it would be like, but going into the mind of Vision and seeing exactly what Ultron intends is a pretty powerful thing. And I love those scenes like that, weapon-based scene when she tricks all their minds, and the transitions between those three like distorted images that Black Widow, Thor, and Cap have are really cool. Like, that's such an awesome scene, and that's more stuff I want from that character, where she's like super weird and like.
Well, that's one thing I will say that I feel like, I don't know if we're gonna get it, because I feel like they maybe lost it a bit in Civil War, because I feel like there's almost like a horror movie vibe to her when you first meet her. Like, the way she moves quickly, or when she's around their head, or even the way like I think she kind of reverses back into a door and the door slams shut really quickly. Like, there is a vibe that, hey, she's from a different sort of world. And then in Civil War, though, it just feel like, okay, she's a superhero
even like her
with these
first
powers.
like couple scenes and the post-credits scene in Guardians, was it? Where they were
Winter Soldier.
It was Winter Soldier, yeah.
Like, they're like her, like, she's physically like in like shadows and stuff, and you can't really see her, and her eyes are all weird.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. In Civil War, like, she just has like magic that is colored red now.
She has the same powers, it just
witch.
feels different tone. It doesn't feel creepy or scary. It feels like, I'm an Avenger now. Which, granted, cool, but that would be better if it still felt a little bit off. That's one of the main reasons Wolverine's so popular, is because he feels a little bit off than all the other X-Men. All of them like, yeah, we're gonna save the world. And here's this guy chomping cigars and drinking and swearing. It's like, it makes it better that he's a little unique, right? And that's what the same thing with Hulk or Thor. They kind of have that where, everyone's different, but they bring this, like, they're, like, Hulk is just this monster in Avengers, right? So it's like, he's unpredictable. Now, I feel like she is just kind of part of the team, which is good, but I don't feel like she is like this. And I still feel like, what is it, Dark World, Iron Man 3, this, and a little bit Winter Soldier, I'll contest, especially when we've done these retros, they still feel like they were in the middle of trying to figure out exactly the path they were going down. And tinkering with this maybe like scary Scarlet Witch is something they thought about, and it doesn't feel like, as far as the trailers in Infinity War, it doesn't feel like that's going to be the case. It feels like the same of Civil War. So I feel like this was one of these things they were tinkering with.
Well, just like, where do you fit that in? You would really have to have her showing up in like a solo movie, and then she can, have like a more screen time, and they can go off into her story, or because I don't think it's at a point where people would be so if she had like a solo movie. Like,
that's
I don't think Marvel would do that
like,
quite yet.
I know some people are gonna be like, oh yeah, they're just trying to push for it because like, oh, women and everything. I don't understand that, but like, I'm really all for the female all Avengers one that they talked about and they joked about, not because of like, equality, that's great and everything, but I honestly feel like I want to see those characters not have to be in, and it's not even with the, like, it's not even because, I want to see them alone without dudes. I don't even care about the dudes. I just want to see a movie of like, okay, if it's a Valkyrie from Ragnarok, a Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, like, take these characters who, that's why for me, like, it's a spoiler for my rankings as I'm doing them right now, my top 10 Marvel characters for the MCU, I think I maybe only have one, if not zero, females in there, because they're very underdeveloped. And I think, like their villains, like their score, they're trying to get better at that. Obviously, Captain Marvel's coming out, but they kind of get the short end of the stick, and that's why I want to see, like, Scarlet Witch, if it's not a solo movie, of some female Avengers, whatever they would call it, because I like her enough so far to want to see more. That's where we don't have the same sample size of Quicksilver, because to me, if it's just this movie, if they're like, hey, we're gonna bring Quicksilver back, I don't need him back. Like he can go away. Where Scarlet Witch, I'm interested in, but Quicksilver. And the thing I will say about Scarlet Witch that is a little bit of a hampering for her though is I think her best scene is the scene she's not driving. It's the one with Hawkeye, and I feel like it's her best scene because he's so good in it, and the circumstances and the writing is good, and she reacts to it good. But other than that, I feel like they both don't get standout moments. I think her destroying the heart is cool, but I don't think I feel like they're very forgettable in this movie.
Yeah, it's true. You know, going off of what you're saying with female Avengers, I think, you know, it could be really interesting to see, obviously, like, what Scarlet Witch, when she gets into Black Widow's head, I love that scene because we actually get to see some backstory on Black Widow, which has not happened at all.
No. Just like talked about that she has blood on her ledger. Like she's done some shady stuff.
There's just, like a little line here or there, but it's never delved into it. So obviously we get to see something here, and I don't know, that could be an aspect of if that were to be a movie, that idea of, you know, them, like, I don't know, her going back into her head and helping her get through these, I guess, hamperings that she has in her life.
Or her and Doctor Strange, you know, like
I want to see that.
They're doing these big things where it's like, oh, Thor and Hulk together, and like Iron Man and Spider-Man. Like that's another thing where I would like to see. So Taylor, how did you feel about the twins in this movie?
Twins.
I really like Quicksilver.
So this whole time you're just like, oh no, they're killing him in front of me. I see that coming.
I hate that they killed him off. I would have loved it if they kept him around and progressed him a little bit more.
What did you like about him?
I loved his humor, I loved his personality, and I really liked his power and how Aaron Taylor Johnson played it out in the movie.
You're just a big fan of that actor too.
He's a great
defending
actor.
him for fucking Godzilla.
I might watch Godzilla tonight.
Oh
actually.
no!
I got the steel case. This little
of course you do.
info there.
A lot of steel cases.
Where's your Avengers Blu-ray?
I don't own Age of Ultron.
Oh.
That's something I regret. Age of Ultron and Ant-Man are two things I want to buy, but they're still like $30 movies.
Oh yikes!
Do you have like Civil War now and Guardians 2? Or
I don't have Guardians 2 or
or
Civil War.
What's the other Marvel movie you've bought then?
The latest one that I got?
Yeah.
Doctor Strange.
I don't own Doctor Strange. I need
Ant-Man?
to.
No, you don't have
I don't have Ant-Man.
Ant-Man 2.
So I have Captain America 1, 2. I have Iron Man 1, 2, 3.
I know that.
Oh,
No, I know that.
Avengers 1.
Stop. I know that. The question is, anything Avengers to Black Panther, Avengers 2 to Black Panther, do you own?
Why?
So that includes...
Because I just want to see if you skipped one instead of buying...
That includes Ant-Man, Guardians 2...
Civil War, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man Homecoming.
I own Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay, there you go.
Spidey.
Yeah, I like that one. I got it on Boxing Day.
I like that one.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Cool. How much
What's
is
your
it?
sex life?
It was $14 the Blu-ray
14
DVD digital
bones.
copy bundle.
Wow.
The
Bundle.
Do you ever use those digital copies?
All the time, but
yeah.
not all. No, they don't always work for iTunes though.
Okay.
Bastards.
Anything more you want to say on why you just love Quicksilver?
I think
you're
he's-
Aaron Taylor Johnson fan.
He's Aaron Taylor Johnson. Let me tell you, is a
'Cause he
fantastic
has-
guy.
it's
because his kick ass.
Well, it's because Taylor is his middle name.
Yeah.
No, no, it's not.
We don't believe you. Just.
I'll meet him one day.
I just don't understand. You've never said anything about this actor, but you're just going so.
Well, he's never popped up in
It all makes
conversation.
sense. It all makes sense
If
now.
you were-
It's
if we were
Godzilla,
driving-
kick
if I was
ass.
A great
driving-
actor doesn't need to be brought up in conversation.
Oh,
You
yeah.
bring them up.
Yeah, fast.
Man.
No, I mean if
Paul
I'm
Rudd.
Hashtag Hannibal.
if I'm driving you home, I'm not gonna just drop. You know, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Travis.
You
is
could.
a great actor.
I feel like I'm one of the people in the world you could do that to that you know. And I'd be like, oh yeah, let's. Why do you like him? Other people you say that to, like, does Ruben know him by name?
I don't know.
No.
what Ruben knows,
I feel
to
like
be
I'm the
honest.
movie guy, an actor guy.
Yeah, but you'd probably
I'm
be
the
like,
one-
you'd be like, well, that's kind of random or something like that.
I would, but everything else you bring up is random.
No, not as random as that. That's crazy.
He literally the other day talked about how he enjoys songs where the title is not said in the song. He says
Because we were listening to music.
Yeah. No, he was just we enjoying the song, and then we were listening to Enter Sandman. He's like, "Oh, did they say that in the song?" I'm like, "No," and he's like, "Oh, good. I feel like that's a cop out for artists to say the title in their song." Yeah, real conversation with Taylor Field.
I mean,
so yeah, you already been weird fucking.
Because we were
random
listening to music.
Taylor also his
I guess-
favorite band is Smash Mouth, so
stuff. Somebody.
It's a great band.
Is that your favorite band?
It's definitely up there with Imagine Dragons.
You're totally into you like Nickelback too.
16-year-old Imagine Dragons.
You like
a couple of Nickelback songs.
some of those 16-year-old dragons.
But I definitely
Whose
like
boat was it?
Dragons.
Whose boat was it?
Whose boat was it?
Fucking-
Oh, we're so sorry.
cat.
No, we're not sorry.
There's
This is
so
what you
many-
get. This is
so
what you
many
get on the
inside
Geekverse.
jokes.
You know, there's so many memes that we've developed over the years.
I don't even think that cast exists. I think you can maybe find it.
We explained it. On
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Bloopers
Well,
episode.
kind of. We left out some stuff
We
for
had to leave
Taylor.
out some details.
Yeah, for legal reasons. And Scarlet Witch. How do you feel about Scarlet Witch?
Scarlet Witch, I think she was totally scary. Like, her character at the end of Civil War, or not Civil War,
Well, it could be at the end.
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Post
I
credits.
guess the post credits. I don't consider that at the end of Winter Soldier,
Oh,
but
okay.
It is physically.
She definitely
It's
put out, like,
semantics.
I remember seeing it in the theaters. I didn't even actually know what had happened because I was busy looking at one twin and I missed looking at the other twin.
Ooh.
And I think I was looking at Scarlet Witch. I think I totally phased out that was Quicksilver, but I didn't fully understand what was going on.
At Winter Soldier,
At the end of Winter
Yeah,
Soldier,
okay.
yeah. It was really late showing, but I didn't know what was going on with them. But Scarlet Witch was really cool, but she was just, like, doing the, like, neck tweaking thing and, like, breaking stuff.
breaking shit.
So that was cool. That set the tone, like, okay, this is going in, like, a horror movie direction. But no, like, it
New Mutants.
New Mutants, yeah. She,
With the New Year 2020.
2020 never.
2020 never.
She definitely kept that kind of appeal in Age of Ultron, which is very good to see because I think it definitely fit with her. But then she completely changes to this totally, you know, caring and just like she falls in line with just the other kind of female characters. I feel like, and they all share. Yes, they're trying to strive for an independent female, powerful lead, but they all seem to share the same kind of. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but they share something very similar, all in common.
I think to me the similar is none of them have solo movies, so you don't get a big deep
Yeah,
dive
but
in them.
when you look at Black Panther, I'd say that those, like, Black Panther's sister and his, like leader bodyguard woman.
I guess they did, yeah, I'd agree. I think
feel
they
like-
feel standouts. And
Yeah.
I will back against her. I still feel like Black Widow feels different than like a Maria Hill or like after Winter Soldier when they played up that like, oh, can she be trusted kind of like shady individual. Like I feel like she
Yeah,
gets
well,
it.
I
She's
think
just in the movie
This
so
is a great,
little.
movie for Black Widow. She gets
Yeah.
a lot more character development throughout.
Yeah, I guess it's a great movie. To me, it's a great
I
movie.
mean, relative to
Yeah.
like her other stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, if you factor in how many other characters there is in this movie, like I think she gets a couple solid.
Oh yeah,
aspects
she
for
definitely has like a
character.
storyline.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Do you have anything more on Scarlet Witch?
I think it's hilarious when Hawkeye says "not this time" and puts the arrow on her head.
Oh, I already did the mind control
Yeah,
thing. Really
I think
good
that's really
because
good.
I was a big fan of them kind of shooting down the first one. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's move over to that Scarlet because I think what I want to do now instead of talking about, because obviously in Avengers we talk about each of the characters individually. We'll probably do that again. I want to talk about some of the points because we brought up Black Widow, so Scarlet. What do you guys feel about the romance? Because that's one thing that is like. I'd say is debated, leaning towards people are not a big fan of Banner and her.
Yeah. I think
I'm
some
on
of
the
that.
fence.
I think some of that is rooted in it's. At least from what I see, it seems like it's kind of 50-50 on people who like, what's his name playing
Ruffalo.
Ruffalo as Bruce Banner,
Hmm.
and I don't know, comparing him to the original Edward Norton Hulk.
I never looked at that way. I looked at it as just that they just didn't like them as like a pairing. And
Well, I think that's just like part of it. I guess.
Okay,
Is that
yeah.
if you don't like one of the characters, then you're not going to like the romance between them and another character, right?
fair enough. Because I feel like a lot of people do like Ruffalo because I just feel like a lot of people have forgotten about Norton and they don't even know that movie is like a thing anymore, right? And
Mhm.
I think another thing is like obviously it was brought up a lot when the movie came out. They didn't like, a lot of people were not a fan of Black Widow comparing her not being able to have children that made her like a monster like Hulk, so some people took issue with that and took a few issues with the things she said. For me, I never had a...
I saw it as more than that. Like that's part of maybe why she said that, but also the fact that she was just trained as this fucking
Yeah.
weapon to kill people and not care about anyone.
Me
That's
too.
where I saw it.
That was my thing. I
Kinda
never...
like emotional.
I'm on the fence about it because I think in a big crossover movie, like I said, I think the romance angle was not a place for it. I think that's... If you wanted to do it, then you had to do it in a Hulk solo movie or somewhere else. And that's the other thing where I guess you have to start somewhere, but it just felt... It felt random to me, and maybe we talked about before with Avengers, they even planted the seeds that they have a lot of scenes together, so maybe that's it. But for them to get romantically involved, especially once again with Winter Soldier, maybe they were just doing it for fun, but like they kind of gave some romantic vibes with her and Cap a little bit. Now they've kind of retroactively made that almost like a brother-sister sort of thing.
Right.
But like, it just felt like, oh, that was maybe happening, and Black Widow's in this movie, and then all of a sudden they're at the bar, and Black Widow and Ruffalo are just talking about, like, Black Widow, like, being with him. Not only a sleeping set, just even, like, having a relationship. It's like, wow, like, where did this, like, something happen in between Avengers and Avengers 2, and I feel like we're missing when they bonded. You know, I feel like you see them bond, and then that happens, where I think they just jump to, they're almost madly in love, and now... I don't know. I'm really interested to see in Infinity War what they do with it, because they're gonna be back together. So
and that'll be the first time they see each other. You know, I actually enjoy it, and here's why. I think that the scene at the beginning of the movie, how she gets sent to give the lullaby, and obviously that's like a big moment for those two characters. And I think while we don't, there's obviously stuff we're missing in between this and the last time these characters are connected. That's still like a big connection for those two characters, and it shows that they, like, obviously she's been doing that for, I don't know, an amount of time, and clearly they've, like, bonded over that, and I don't know, I think it felt like it didn't really have a whole lot of screen time for the romance, so yeah, it could have been left out, but I didn't really feel like it was just, like, tacked on there, or that it was, like, made a huge focus for no particular reason other than wanting to have, like, a love interest.
Yeah.
So... And I guess the difference is that we already know both these characters, so it kind of works, and we already know that they're working together, and we've seen in previous movies how they respect each other, and, I mean, obviously they both like each other and are fond of, their skills, and they appreciate each other for, multiple reasons. And I also think it works as a really good motivator, or, I guess, a justification to show how... Bruce Banner and the Hulk, how his mind has been kind of warped and twisted, and how at the end of this movie, how he decides to leave. Obviously, he had that connection with Scarlet Witch, so he had someone, or Scarlet Witch, with Black Widow. He has this connection, potential, like, love interest thing, and he still decides to just fucking leave the planet, and I think that goes to show really how big of a decision that was for him and how meaningful it is, and I think obviously, like, retroactively, I love what this does for Thor Ragnarok, and how we see him again. And I kind of forgot, when I watched Ragnarok in theaters, I hadn't watched Avengers 2 in a while, and I kind of forgot about that scene when he's flying away and he's getting that call from, I keep wanting to say Scarlet Witch, from Black Widow, and he, just hangs up and keeps going. I think it's an excellent resolve that's what we see that in Thor Ragnarok, and that's how he gets brought back. Because that's kind of like his last inkling of what he was like doing right before he left Earth, and his memory has kind of been warped ever since then.
I get that that's like it leads into Thor Ragnarok, like story-wise and everything. It makes sense, but do you think that it wasn't so much Bruce Banner making that decision, but it was the Hulk realizing that maybe Bruce was going to go with Natasha, and that Natasha would always be that possible force that could keep the Hulk at bay, and the Hulk obviously was taking over.
I've never thought about that. That's an interesting thought.
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a combination of, because in the middle of that movie he says, hey, I can't feel like I can't have this, right? Like the wife and kids and everything like that. And I think also after Sokovia, like, he ended up helping out, but they were like, oh, they might want to arrest Banner and stuff like that. Well, so I think it was a little bit of Banner still like, maybe it's just good for me to leave, and then Hulk being like, hey, I don't want...
That's hard for me to answer that, because obviously in Ragnarok it's a bit different, because he's been in the Hulk form for how long?
Over 2 years.
Yeah, over 2 years, so his memory, like, being completely wiped makes sense, but I don't really know, like, if he is the Hulk for, like, an hour, like he would be in this movie, for example, and then he goes back to Bruce, like, how much memory transfers over, and how much is he aware of Bruce, or as Iron Man, and that when he whips up the Iron Giant suit, whatever it's called.
Hulkbuster.
The Hulkbuster, and, how he mentions Banner, and then Hulk obviously gets, like, enraged by that, like, immediately. So, yeah, it's kind of hard for, like, I think that's a really interesting thought, and I think that makes sense as well, and I think that even makes the ending of the movie better when he decides to leave, because there's, like, two aspects to it that make sense, and it's hard for me to fully quantify just because I don't know how much of that memory transfers over. But I really like it. I think it does the movie well, and I think that both those characters, like, get a lot more development in this movie, even though there's so much else going on, and yes, it's not, like, focused on them by any means, but for a movie that has 100 million other characters, I think they have, like, a really interesting story, and the way it's played off together is fun, and it kind of rivals what we see, Cap and Iron Man. I think this movie really is establishing what's going to happen in Civil War, and so it's fun to see that, pairing, and then also there's a lot of pairings in this movie, obviously,
Except for Thor.
except for Thor. I keep forgetting about Thor.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about him. I wasn't gonna say. You got anything else to say on help me out there, big guy?
Yeah,
I will say, every time she said that, I did think about Thor and Ragnarok, dude, and the sun's getting real low. Like, I can't sit here and do that now without laughing now, because they killed that joke in Thor Ragnarok.
Right.
Sun's getting real low.
Yeah, no, I think the relationship wasn't too overkilled or anything like that. I think it was pretty decent. I think I like the idea of how Natasha is interested in him because she's got so much control over her emotions and feelings. That's what makes her a good agent, assassin, interviewer,
Avenger.
and
Interviewer.
What'd you say?
interviewer.
You mean interrogator?
Yes, thank
I
you.
don't think she's going around interviewing people. Oh,
I'm
so
sorry.
It's all a matter of opinion. They're the same thing.
I don't think
One
so.
is like kind of more aggressive and maybe uses torturing methods. but-
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's your interview, and Black Widow walks in. Fuck, I did something wrong. I ain't getting this job.
Is the sun getting really low?
Yeah, I'm gonna help you out, big guy.
But yeah, so I think her abilities, controlling her emotions, that allow her to,
That's a
overcome
superpower.
those scenarios. It's a superpower. So I think the fact that she's really attracted to Bruce Banner is the fact that he just controls his emotions and doesn't, get mad. So.
And the cucumber. Yeah, that's part of
The cucumber? You mean the zucchini?
I get it. Is it zucchini?
it. Different thing, same thing.
Is it? Are you referring? Oh,
I did
okay.
kind of butcher it, but
Okay.
it is there close enough.
Yeah, because Stark does clearly say, "You two better not be playing hide the zucchini."
Yeah.
Does he say
Which
that?
is one of the best lines of the movie.
Yeah, it's like near the end of the last
Yeah.
battle.
Really?
It's not cucumber.
That's savage.
It's not a cucumber,
Wow,
so
Tony
I fucked
Stark.
up. That's savage.
That's savage.
You better not be playing hide the zucchini.
Wow, that's crazy. I totally overlooked that part.
You missed that. You missed Vision's cape. You missed a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
Did you watch it? We forgot to ask you that at the beginning.
Yeah, no one asked me that.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
going off the first time he saw it in theaters.
You know what? He just watched Godzilla and he's remembering that actor instead of
Godzilla
the actual
retro.
Quicksilver that's in this movie. God damn it, Taylor.
But yeah, no, I think what was the topic of conversation?
The romance.
The romance, yes.
Romance.
I think it was. I think it was great. There's not too much romance in all these movies except for Pepper Potts and Tony Stark and
Ant-Man coming
I think that's a lie.
Ant-Man leaning in. Well, no, Natalie Portman
Cap
and
and
Thor.
Cap and Peggy.
No, Cap's
Black
love
Widow-
life is all over the place. I'd say.
Black Widow and Cap is kind of like that. T'Challa and Nakia. Guardians is Gamora and Star-Lord. I feel like they all have a romantic aspect
Oh, yeah, I
to
guess
it.
So. Okay.
But I think it is, subtle
and
and rarely used. It hasn't really been like the focus by any means yet.
Wrong.
Yeah, this is the first time I'd say that side characters are really getting their romance
Getting it
you know?
on.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So it's definitely not been like a main character this time around. It's the side characters. So maybe they're trying to test out like a new trend or whatever. Maybe they're gonna get like Falcon with Valkyrie or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have a whole lot of options. There's not a lot of
Yeah,
females
really.
kicking
I
around.
feel like Valkyrie and Thor were gonna kind of become a thing, but no, you just cut that out from the
Oh
legs.
yeah, I guess that's possible.
Yeah. I feel like they kind of need to fuck first, but let's see. What's the next point of contention I want to bring up as far as. I guess, because I want to talk about Thor, but let's talk about Cap and Tony quickly. I think it's done really well from the beginning of the movie when Maria Hill walks in after their big battle and she talks to Iron Man and then he's like, hey, I'm not the boss. I just pay for all this stuff to make everyone look cool.
Yeah.
I love that because it establishes that, okay, Iron Man is kind of giving the reins to Cap. Cap is the leader of the Avengers. But then you slowly see that kind of dissipate. And obviously, this movie is just kind of a big foreplay till Civil War. That's when it really blows up. But you start to see, obviously in Avengers, you already saw them banging heads. But that one, to me, was... I don't know. That was just because they'd first met and it's in a very intense situation, right? And obviously they still have different morals and you saw them in the first one, but now they've been working together for long enough. We don't know how long, but they're on missions. We see them joke around and whatnot. And then you get back to, okay, it was like Avengers, like they are fighting, but now they're getting really down to like ideologies and morals and things about like, hey, we need to do it this way. No, we need to do it this way. Obviously, that scene of them chopping wood is a perfect example of they see it one way or another. Like, I don't trust the guy with the dark side.
My pile.
Well, it's such a good line. And like, I don't trust the guy with the dark side. Like, you haven't seen it yet. And that's like a complete setup to Civil War. And I think that is needed in this movie, but I think it's one of these things again where it's because there's so much other stuff happening that it gets a little bogged down this movie where they planted seeds and I think it was a good idea, but Civil War was really where they knocked out the park. But it's one of these things, I think Dylan said, it's like it's tough to take stuff out. It's just when you do these type of movies that are just set up movies, it pays off in the long run. I think Avengers 2 does pay off in the long run, but as like an actual movie going experience, I don't think it makes it for the best movie because at the end of this movie it's just like, yeah, we kind of fought, but you know what? Good, like we're Avengers and we'll make it through. And then the next movie, it's like, hey, like Bucky, this is like it's that Iron Man 3 thing again, where it's like you had to repair it because of this movie, but maybe you didn't need to, but you couldn't leave it on a cliffhanger because you need Civil War to happen, right? So it's like, like you're kind of stuck again. So I really enjoyed them both. Cap is obviously still dealing with a lot of stuff. I don't think he's dealing as much as Winter Soldier and Avengers. I don't think you get that man out of time aspect with them, but that's good. That's fine. This Iron Man, I think,
you got it briefly with his vision.
Great. Yeah, which also I want to talk about a little bit more later. But and then with Tony, they disregard Iron Man 3, so I think that hurts Iron Man 3. But again, in Civil War, to me, they pay it off because in Civil War, he has a line, and I think it's almost like what you said with Guardians vs. Guardians 1, how it makes it better. Like, Civil War, he just completely calls himself out. Says, like, my plan was to stop. I was going to try and make things work with Pepper. Like, I'm a mess. Like at that point, they had, like, broken up. So they kind of retroactively make it better of, like, oh, he meant to stop. He just couldn't help himself.
Yeah.
I wish we got more into that because I hate that Homecoming just completely, like, oh, they're getting married and it's fine now. It's like, I wanted to get into that, like, Tony Stark who's just obsessed with being Iron Man and can't stop, but that's gone because maybe they're like, yeah, we're not doing Iron Man 4, so let's just do this and get it over with. But in this movie, it doesn't work, but in the long run, again, it works, and I like the idea of, obviously, he's pushing everything forward, and yeah, like, Taylor will always fight me on it, but Tony Stark is probably the best villain the MCU has because this is all his fault. Ultron's all his fault. If he just sends that staff back to Asgard, none of this happens, though. None of it happens, and then none of Civil War happens. If he just says, yeah, Thor, you take that up there, this doesn't happen.
It's not his fault, though.
It is his fault.
Because he put it inside of his head.
But he didn't have to do it.
No one else saw the aliens up there. He went up there and he saw the Chitauri, and he knew that next time they would not be ready. He wanted to make.
Then why did he blow up all his suits?
All his suits?
To make Pepper happy.
Yeah, exactly. But like, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day whether. But that's makes a good villain. Taylor is a. Look at Killmonger. He's completely almost justifying what he's doing, but he's going about it the wrong way. That's him making this like AI.
But Tony wasn't going about it the wrong way though.
He almost destroyed Sokovia.
Yeah. He didn't almost destroy Sokovia. He wasn't going about the wrong way.
But his actions led that way. It's the same to me. If it was reversed in a story and he was the villain of a movie, you could see that as a guy who's just trying to change the world and save the world. That's like Doctor Doom 101. Like he's just trying to protect it because he thinks the only way he can protect it is by him. But if he does send like. I'm not wrong. If he sends that Tesseract up, this doesn't happen. And the Avengers could still just be Avengers. Like, Civil War starts with, hey, Sokovia happened. We need to help and figure this out. Like, Hulk doesn't turn into, like, crazy guy. Like, none of this happens if he just steps aside.
But they weren't trying to, they didn't know what would happen. They didn't understand.
But that's a classic villain.
I think there's even, like, I mean, I guess, I was going to say there's, like, a kind of a middle ground where he can keep the Tesseract there and just, like, study it and... use that to find out what to do with it later. But I guess that's kind of what he does. But then he just kind of sits down for it one night, and then that kind of takes over on its own. But I am inclined to agree with you, Travis, where he's more on like the villain side of it because. I mean, I think it is his fault, all this stuff.
But he even had a failsafe. Jarvis was there to guard it and actually shut down.
But he didn't even know that was going to happen, remember? Because he had to figure it out later. He just thought Jarvis was dead. And this is plot armor. But, okay, so when he makes Vision, that all works out. Vision's great. He literally just decides what's the way to help, and that's why Iron Man ends up being
it's where he's like on the border of having like that, full-on God complex.
Yeah, he just wants to do the Ultron thing again, but he's like, this time it will be better. Yes, because the plot wants it to be, and Tony Stark is the main character of this like MCU, I'd say, it does end up being better. But still, just the idea of, hey, we made Ultron, let's try this again. It does work, but what if it didn't? What if Vision was with Ultron? Then he's just completely fucked. Like, that's the thing where it's like, maybe, and he didn't, with both, the Tesseract, he lied to Thor. He just said, oh, they just wanted to research it, right? He did not say that they were making Ultron. Even then when they got Vision, he did not tell them that. They just said, we're doing that, and then they had a big
And he
fight.
doesn't discuss any of it with anyone except for Banner.
Yeah, and he just decides it. That's like 100% villain. That's why I always say to you that, like, it's okay to accept that he's a villain, in my opinion, because that's what makes him a great character. He's a flawed character, and that's what makes Tony Stark a great character, because he has all these flaws, and he makes the plot going. But in this movie, like, it is his fault, and he does. That's why in Civil War he does say that. He says, "Ultron, my fault." Like, he knows he screws up, and then he just continues to screw up. And I think that's a good, strong reason why he dies in Infinity War, if he does, or Avengers 4, because it would kind of make sense for him to do a self-sacrifice, but this time really go, because a lot of this is, a lot of stuff, Civil War, a lot of that's his fault, So, but I think that makes
Civil War's his fault.
He locked Scarlet Witch up in like a compound.
Didn't lock her up.
He did. No, he did. He wasn't letting her leave.
Supervision.
Well, no, that's exactly the reason why Cap doesn't sign the contract, because he says that. He's like, God damn it, Tony. Like, Hawkeye literally has to go break in to get her out. She can't leave on her own will.
No,
that's fucked up.
Break in.
He did.
He snuck in.
Oh shit! He could. Okay, could Scarlet Witch and Civil War just walk out of that compound?
Yes.
No, she couldn't.
Yes,
that was the point. No, she
Because
couldn't.
Vision is meant to be like
A guard.
Yeah, he's meant to just be there hanging out with her, but
Yeah.
really he is guarding her from leaving
Yeah.
because he is the one who's powerful enough to stop her if that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
You need to watch Civil War, and your boy is.
I did. I watched it the other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also, it wasn't the Tesseract that they were studying.
Oh, Loki's staff. Sorry.
Yeah, the
right,
Mind Stone.
right. So, but that's so. Where were they taking the Mind Stone then? He was taking
gonna
to
go to
Asgard.
Asgard,
Yeah.
which leads me to another thing. Why would
Why did he make?
Thanos
He doesn't have
give
to
up?
leave it at Asgard though. That could just be like,
Okay,
take it there
fair
first because their vault that they have there is certainly more secure than anything Earth has.
I still think
and then from there,
until
put
Hela
it
shows
somewhere.
up.
God damn it, Hela, what are you doing?
But like, we talked about that already. But I'm still trying to figure out why Thor still doesn't think like him taking it and putting it elsewhere might be best, because he doesn't know Vision's gonna be good. So his plan was still to take it originally, and then he's just like, well, we'll risk it and see.
Yeah, the more you bring up Thor, the more I realize like I just kind of forgot about him. There's so much else going on when I was watching this that I don't really think about his absence and how much it actually affects the plot.
And he has no motivation.
He has such a different perspective than everyone else does.
Yeah.
Is at this point he's the one who's been to another planet.
Yeah.
I have two questions. And so the first question, why would Thanos knowingly give up an Infinity Stone?
He didn't.
It was in the staff that he gave to Loki.
Well, because he wanted him to take over the Earth before they got down there. Because I think he thought it would be secure and they were gonna win. So that was like Thanos, I think, being too overconfident, and
Thanos is definitely very cocky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he is, boy.
So
True.
Look at Guardians.
So now when he
I don't remember killing your family. That's Ronan. I love when he says
Where do you think
that.
he got it from?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Thanos.
And then he's come back in Captain Marvel. I'm so fucking stupid.
Captain Marvel.
so when Thanos got his gauntlet, was the Tesseract in there as well at the time, or was that after?
Well,
The
no,
Tesseract was
because
in there during
no,
Avengers,
because
and he got
remember
the gauntlet after.
Thor Ragnarok ends with Loki having the Tesseract.
Yes, but when Thanos goes into the vault to get the Infinity Gauntlet, isn't the Tesseract in there in the vault already?
At Asgard?
Yeah.
That's not where him getting. You're talking about like the post-credit scene, right? When he's like, "I'll do it myself."
And he's putting on the Infinity Gauntlet.
That's not at Asgard. That's just like his house. Like he just has the because remember
I thought Loki let him into the vault.
No, because remember he doesn't. Because remember in Ragnarok.
Because I think in the background is like the Cosmos space place that Thanos is always chilling in his
Yeah.
his throne.
And then remember in Ragnarok, Hela bumps over the gauntlet and says fake.
Oh, I thought that it was because Loki, since he became the fake Odin, he let Thanos in there to take the gauntlet.
No.
then
That's
I
always
thought-
been a fake.
I thought
there.
that Thanos swapped it out.
It could have been, but they've made it that it was always a fake. That could have been a plan in this like Avengers Iron Man 3 reign, but it sounds like
Wow.
that either Odin just had that there as like a cocky thing to be like, hey, we have the gauntlet, or they actually thought it was the real thing and Hela knows it's not. So he's had the gauntlet the whole time. The Tesseract was in Asgard.
Okay,
still,
well
so,
that's good to know. Well, that
and
fills
now
that
Loki's
hole.
gonna die over it. So
Poor Loki.
yeah, it's coming.
He
I'm
tries
just
so
I say this every cast because I'm just preparing you all. Let's talk about Thor, because we've talked about him a little bit. That to me is one of my least favorite stuff. And this is a big thing where apparently Joss Whedon and Marvel at the time, and that's where the Ike Perlmutter comes in, the former partner of Feige, now they've split up.
Feige, cut the check.
That apparently they kind of met in the middle where they really wanted this Thor scene and this Thor sequence for him to go off and Infinity Stones, so obviously to set up the other movies, and Whedon really wanted the Hawkeye stuff, and I guess they kind of met in the middle and chopped a little bit of both. So, one, I was completely Team Joss because the Hawkeye stuff, which, actually we'll talk about Hawkeye too, because we talked about him in the Avengers cast, but there's not much to talk about there. But like, I love the House stuff. I do not like the Thor stuff. Great to see Eric Selvig, but it just feels like it's such a detour in this movie, and it feels like something that they could have found a way to. Because in Ragnarok, obviously it ended up being very comedic, but his main driving force before he got there was like, oh, I'm looking for the Infinity Stones. I think they could have found a way to set that up. Like, they had enough movies. It just felt like they knew that, okay, Avengers ended up, I think, being like the 4th or 5th biggest movie of all time. And they went, hey, we know that's probably going to happen. It's going to do great, so let's get this in there so people know what's coming. I get that. But then at the same time, Black Panther is huge, and I feel like Ragnarok was huge. Like, and I feel like people do see these on Netflix or movies, and even then, I feel like a lot of those moviegoers that saw Avengers 2 are still going to go see Infinity War, when it's like, oh, Guardians is that. So I think their intentions were right. Hey, we should set this up, because technically Avengers 3 is Infinity War, but at the same point, the whole bath thing, and it just feels so random, and it's just like, Eric Selvig's known about this the whole time, about like people have gone in there and never come back, where in Thor, he was like not even believing in gods for a while. Like, it feels really hamstrung in, and then yeah, Thor is just kind of there. He's just kind of saving people. Cap and Tony have a thing, Hulk and Banner have a thing, even the twins have a thing, underdeveloped thing, but he's just around. Even when he's in the house scene, it just really feels like, hey, we have nothing for Thor, so he's just gonna fly off and do his stuff. Like, he just leaves immediately. Cap's just like, what's going on? He's just like, oh, the stones have been popping up, something's weird, and he flies away. And, like, and they make those great jokes about him with lawn maintenance. But yeah, Thor, I like Thor as a character still. He has really good one-liners, which I have in there, like in my notes we'll get into after, but yeah, Thor, I think he's just kind of a directionless character in this. And it also didn't help that this was coming off of Dark World, and he had the worst movie out of them all. So I think it was like a 1-2 punch of all Thor. It's not going good for Thor right now, and good thing for Ragnarok, because it seems to like breathe some life back in that character and world, so.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to say. You kind of nailed it, but I guess I didn't realize how little he's in this until you kind of mentioned it, and that's what's great about these casts is, you know, there's always something to miss, and especially a movie like this, so. Oh yeah. That's definitely what I missed is Thor. And I mean, at the time, I probably didn't care a whole lot when I first saw this movie, because
I don't think a lot of people did.
I mean, I don't even think I saw Dark World. But, well, I think I watched a bit of it on Netflix. I was like, this is garbage. I'm not watching the rest of it. Before the podcast, you know, I didn't feel obliged to have to watch all of these movies. Yeah. But, yeah, even from Thor 1, you know, I still wasn't like a big fan of that character, and he is pretty good in the first Avengers, obviously, so I liked the character enough, but like, I wasn't like, oh man, I was really missing Thor in this movie, and now, in you know, retrospect, is what we're doing here with the success of Ragnarok, and all we've seen with the character of Thor, and how much I like that character now. Yeah, he is one of the you know, negatives that comes out of this movie, kind of having a lack of focus, right? Is that what is his story really, and like a question of like, why exactly does he power up that, you know, or like spawn vision, I guess. Like, we can kind of come up with an answer for it, but it still feels like there maybe should be more there, that we're missing a scene. Yeah. And
well, it will be interesting, because at the time of this recording, we had heard like rumors going around that the two characters had the most screen time, and this is what the director said was Thanos and Thor. And if that's the case in Infinity War, that means that Thor is like leading the charge for a lot of stuff, which makes sense because he's the guy that's gone between worlds, right? But like, that's a lot for that character. So I am happy Ragnarok happened, and I always liked Thor because I actually love Thor 1, but I think between Thor Dark World and this, he needed some guidance, and he's kind of got that in Infinity War. Will be interesting what they do there, and he's going to have to warn his brother.
Warn his brother. My last point would be, you know, if they had to choose between having more Thor in this movie and having Hawkeye stuff, I like the Hawkeye. Yeah. I like that whole segment of the movie. I think it's it definitely like takes the pace down a bit, and I think that's fine. I think it's once again a moment where we get to see, you know, some of the Iron Man, Cap stuff get developed a little bit more. Yeah. We also get to see more of
Bruce and Natasha.
Yeah, exactly. So and that's the only scene with Nick Fury in this movie as well.
I'm excited to talk about Nick Fury, but like even Hawkeye's home life, like seeing his relationship with his wife, to me, like does him miles of credit that we didn't get in Avengers 1. And there's no scene in the MCU, especially like Avengers, I'm comparing it to the first one, that's like that house or barn scene or wherever it is. And I really like it. I like the scenes where it's just the heroes cool down like with each other. And you can tell they're all shaken and some of them are mad at each other. And they're just trying to figure it out and make a plan. Like even them just like Nick Fury talking to them while they're all making dinner and getting like, I love that sort of stuff. And yeah, I'm with you 100% on the choosing as far as, because the Thor stuff, it's like, okay, we know the stones are coming. Like, I feel like even other people would have understood that. It's not like they explain what the stones do in this movie.
Right.
So
that's what Guardians does.
Yeah.
Sort of. I have more to say on Hawkeye, but Taylor, you can finish up with Thor if you want.
Oh yeah, he kind of vanished. Not much to say. He was gone. Kind of sucked. Yeah.
Kinda sucked,
I'm ready to move on.
yeah, with Hawkeye then, yeah, I love because I think this was kind of this line of what you brought up earlier, like I don't do the mind control, the segment with the house, and then the ending speech that he gives, to me very much felt like Joss Whedon apologizing for whether it was his choice or not, that, hey, we know Hawkeye kind of got a raw deal in Avengers 1. I think that's the only con. And I don't think it's even a con if you don't read comics, because it's just like, oh, he's just another guy on the team. But for Hawkeye fans, it was really bad to see, especially because he didn't have much of a movie. So he was in some fucking tower in Thor. Like, that doesn't count. Like, he has 2 lines. Like, and I love what they do here. And I always joked about this on Dynamic Duo with Liam, because he is not a big Hawkeye fan. But in this movie, they make him the glue. And they say that, like, she makes it fair. It's not that subtle, but, like, she says, like, I look at these guys, they're all gods and men, and or gods, and, like, she says something else about them to just make them sound like they're on a higher beam. And then Hawkeye's like, oh, you don't think I belong with them? And she's like, no, like, they need you. And then she goes, that scares me that they need you, because these huge, powerful beings, like, need a man. And then she tells him, like, because you're like this and because you're like this. And he is the glue. He holds them together. And the speech with Scarlet Witch is fantastic.
Yeah,
the whole, like, it is comedic of, like, I don't know what's going on. There's robots, I have a bone arrow, and the sky is falling. Or, like, this planet is, like, what is it?
This town is floating.
This town's floating. And he's just like, the town, like, at one point he kicks in the door. I had the line written down, but he's just like, and the city's flying. And yeah, he's flying, and he gets there, he goes out, he kicks the door, he's like, the city's flying. And then he just goes back out there and pops off. But then when he gives the emotional stuff of, like, it doesn't matter what you are, what you've done, like, when you walk out that door, you're an Avenger because you have to be. You have to save people, you have to do good. If you don't, that's fine, I'll come get you, or I'll get your brother, get you, but I can't be babysitting you. And I think he is, to me, my favorite part of this movie, honestly, because they do a good job. I wish we got more. I know he's going to die in Infinity War, so it really sucks, but I wish there was more of him in some other movies, because I feel like there's potential to be a great character there, and if this movie did one thing, the best out of everything it does, I think Hawkeye is that. And I wish we got more of Hawkeye, but we just never seem to, and I don't think we're gonna get to. But it's a good showcase, and we spend a lot of time with him, and I kind of like that because we didn't get to spend that time with him in Avengers. So
I guess it feels like the only storyline or character that has like a beginning and an end.
Yeah,
you know,
because this is
it goes full circle. I guess Ultron does as well. But yeah, I love the segment of him in his farm. I think it's interesting because all these characters obviously have like secrets and things that we find out throughout these movies. And Hawkeye's is just like so wholesome, you know. It's that he has a beautiful family and this little farm, and he's always like, oh, I'll fix the bathroom whatever when I get, he's always like working on something. He's
completely
just, like,
different than what he is. Yeah,
it's just so wholesome, and I love that. And I love Linda Cardellini. She's amazing. So
shout out to Velma.
Shout out to Freaks and Geeks. One of the greatest shows of all time.
Shout out to Mad Men.
Shout out to I haven't seen her in those things, but
you didn't see the Scooby-Doo movie?
Like the first one?
Yeah, she plays Velma.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
I haven't watched it since probably it came out.
It's great.
So
I'm dying for a Scooby-Doo retro.
Yeah, seriously, let's
do
it.
Series.
I'm so down.
You've not looked. No, there's like hundreds of those episodes.
Okay, well, we'll watch this.
One day.
We'll watch the movies.
Head over to page.
How many movies? There's like 5 movies probably.
There's a lot of movies. Like just those cartoon movies, or
like the live action.
Just
movies.
2. There's just 2. Yeah. And
wasn't the second one like really bad?
It kind of is. But
even Taylor nodded to that.
1 and 2, James Gunn, the guy who wrote and directed Guardians, wrote those Scooby-Doo movies.
Really?
Yep.
That is a fun fact of the day.
Maybe we'll hit them when we do a James Gunn retro something. Because one day we've always said
James Gunn retro.
Well, we've said
that seems so obscure. Like I feel like we do like Tarantino.
Well, Tarantino's
like,
but at one point when we get to Gunn, because hopefully we're doing this for the rest of our lives,
That's true.
we'll get to James Gunn one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love the Tony is just like chilling in the house when they're all talking to Fury. He's just like throwing darts and then like there's a quick bullseye and he like leans over and like Hawkeye just makes this really devious little smirk. Yeah, it's just a great segment. And you brought up that conversation that he has with his wife, which is just really really solid writing between them. And I mean they just have like perfect chemistry between each other.
And that's why you're gonna see her and the kids at his funeral.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like they're gonna put on some super suits.
No. When he dies, they're gonna be at his coffin, laying down the arrow and everything like that.
Laying down the arrow.
Yeah,
that's his legacy.
Yeah, putting him in the water like Boromir off that waterfall.
And I love the pep talk he gives to the big Scar Witch as well.
And he has great one-liners in this movie too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, well done, Hawkeye.
Yep.
Yeah, his whole farm scene with his family, that was unexpected and great. I think it was, that's an ideal lifestyle. I mean, if his life wasn't already written out, the fact that he's going to die by Thanos' hands, I think, it'd be a pretty okay lifestyle.
You don't know that he's going to die.
No, it's just a Travis told you moment.
I think he's dead.
Yeah, I do too.
I think he'll quit.
I think he'll quit and then he'll die. Yeah, he did, and then he came back in Civil War.
Yeah. I think in this movie he definitely did justice. I think I'm so happy that they focused on him and they really
Well, usually you'd say they did him justice. It's just when you said he did justice. Like, it's true, he did do justice.
Is that like a female's name or something?
Oh, hey now.
That's his wife's secret superhero name.
You did her, yeah. Anyway, go
on. I think just with the kids and everything, it was very cool when Natasha walks in. They're like Auntie Nat and stuff like that.
Love that.
Auntie Nat.
Because she's completely fucked up, but then the second she's still shaking, but the second they say that, she's like snaps out of it and she's like semi-normal. So I love that.
I think aside from all that stuff, it just makes me wonder, like, wow, like what would have happened if did Hawkeye ever try going home when he was possessed by Loki, or what? I would have been I feel bad for the kids, their dad's possessed.
No, because he was with Loki the whole time, and Loki would tell him to do stuff, right? So I don't think Loki ever said, you need to go
to your secret farm and kill your family.
Yeah. And that's why on his file, obviously, it's like he made that joke, like, I don't have a girlfriend, and then, obviously he probably has a list that he's signal or whatnot, so, yeah.
I think it's cool that Nick Fury kept it on the down low, but I'm wondering, did he join...
Fury.
Did he join S.H.I.E.L.D. before or after he had his family, I wonder?
I think it could have been after, because those kids are young enough, and they make it seem like Hawkeye's been doing it for a while, so I think it could have been after.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after or during. I'd say he maybe was with his wife during, but when the kids came in, I think that was probably once he was in full Budapest mode,
Budapest
full
mode.
Budapest.
Yeah. Budapest, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
You and I remember Budapest very differently.
I think I love Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye, and I mean, again, compared to the Thor's random arc, I think Hawkeye's was well deserved, and
I feel like they kind of set you up that he's gonna be the one that dies at the end of this movie, right? Like the classic, he's getting a lot of screen time. You see his family, you see his kids, and I think they do that. If that was the intention the whole way through, and then they kind of subvert expectations by making Quicksilver die. Pretty smart, because I thought the whole time I was watching this movie the very first time, Hawkeye's going, because they're laying it on way too thick that he's just such a good guy and he's the glue, and that's what I thought after this, oh good, we'll get to see more, and it's no, we never got to see more in Civil War. He's in Civil War, but that's about it.
He's in it.
And Infinity War, he's not even in the teasers, he's not even on the posters, and the directors keep saying he has his own mission, so I hope it's something big and it is secret, but at the same time I also think it's, his own mission is dying in the first half an hour, so yikes.
Poor guy.
I love his speech with Scarlet Witch. I think it's fantastic, and I love the little thing that his wife says to him. I feel like that's something lots of guys that feel, down and out, when they go back home and their girl's there, and just kind of gives them some powerful words. I think, a lot of men can I'm a Hawkeye in my own way, and I think they can relate.
Taylor needs a speech, apparently.
No. I feel like,
speech.
if anything, I feel like I'm totally a bit of a Tony Stark.
Okay.
Wow. Interesting.
I feel like you're kind of like Agent Coulson, but that's...
Agent Coulson?
That's another... Yeah.
So that's what that does.
Coulson. Or a Quicksilver.
So that's what they... Yeah, you can be Quicksilver.
You have a female twin, by chance?
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I guess we'll have to ask your dad to Dutch. Any other big main points I hit on? I have a lot of little notes and talking points, but any other... I think we've covered the main stuff that's new and whatnot, so...
Yeah, I guess we kind of talked about all the characters.
Yeah, we talked about
Well,
Ultron,
what about
talked
Nick
about the
Fury?
end.
What do you think of Nick Fury?
Okay, we talked about him. I don't know what the fuck's going on with Nick Fury. This is another Winter Soldier. Like, we were going one way with them. He has this big dramatic moment where he burns his eye patch, and they've declared him dead. He has a fucking gravestone, but here he is, like, sulking around Hawkeye's like barn and whatnot. Yeah, like I get it. I imagine it's probably, hey, the team's down. I bet they're gonna go to Clint Barton's place. But what happened if Tony was like, hey, I got a place off the grid, and they didn't go there, and Nick Fury's just like hanging around.
I think Hawkeye contacted him.
Okay, yeah, true, maybe, and it's just, but then Winter Soldier makes it sound like he wasn't wanting to be contacted, right? Like we didn't know. I did not. When Winter Soldier ended, I got the vibe Nick Fury's gonna be gone for a little bit. I didn't get the vibe that literally he's just back to doing exactly what he is in this movie. He shows up the Hellcarrier. He has guns. Like nothing's changed. So what was the point of Winter Soldier and like saying he's dead and like I said, just seeing him burn the eye patch? It's like he has the eye patch back. He burned a perfectly good eye patch. Like that's just a waste. Yeah, yeah. Like I like him in the sense of I always like Sam Jackson and Nick Fury as a character, but I feel like maybe they could have. I don't know. I wouldn't take it out, but if it got taken out, I wouldn't have been mad. You know, I think in the moment would be like, oh no, Nick Fury, but really it's like Nick Fury does nothing. Maria Hill could have drove the fucking helicarrier.
He's another character that gets lost in the mix, and well, honestly, in this movie, he's forgettable for me. Like he's in the
10-minute screen time total.
He's in there. He's talking to all of them. Like I guess talking about what's going on. I watched the movie yesterday.
He goes Coulson's cards again. Like no, we did this already. There was an idea.
Just repeating the scene.
Yeah, no, Nick, no.
Just burning his iPad.
On the stove.
What was I gonna say? I watched the movie yesterday, and he has that like pep talk with him. I can't even remember what he's talking about. Like, he is very forgettable. And you're right. Like, it doesn't really make sense for his character or his story either. Like, what is his character?
I think the only thing that's good that I remember is him and Tony's conversation in the barn because Tony kind of understands Nick Fury's perspective of not telling everybody everything, right? Because he kind of says like, yeah, Ultron, like you gotta stop this and everything.
Fury always has secrets.
Yeah, and I think they kind of saw each other in that light now of equals because Tony was always trying to like hack into S.H.I.E.L.D. and find stuff out, and that was like, yeah, when I was in your situation, because he was kind of Nick Fury at the beginning of this movie, right? And Cap was the Iron Man of, hey, when I had to tell everybody everything, I didn't, and I chose to do it on my own. So I think that was good, but other than that, Nick Fury does not need to be in this movie.
No.
He's easily forgettable. I really like when he pops up with the helicarrier. I think it's super cool. I like that line drop, like, is this S.H.I.E.L.D.? And he's like, this is what S.H.I.E.L.D's supposed to be, or whatever he says.
No, that's Cap that says that, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought you were talking about Nick Fury, so
no.
You're...
No, I think it's, the whole scene with the helicarrier.
Just trying to help you out there, big guy.
Oh, big guy. I think that it's
Sounds getting real low.
That was your nickname. Let me help you, big guy, or whatever you said. Let me help you out there, big guy.
Big guy. No, it was a great scene. I think definitely the part in the barn, though. I mean, the only thing I remember from that is Tony Stark saying "Hey dear" and he's talking to the tractor, which I really like. I thought that was hilarious, but I don't remember what Sam Jackson was talking about. I just remember the tractor part.
These cards.
These cards.
It's Tony's dad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just dropping bombs.
Yeah. Hey, Bucky did this. Who's Bucky? Oh, you'll find out.
Fucking Bucky.
Thank God he was in there. He would have fucked everything up.
Yeah, he would have.
But it just makes me wonder where he's hanging out now. Like what's he up to? Is he in Wakanda or like?
Well, no, because he's in Black Panther.
Nowhere.
I think in Infinity War and Avengers 4, he's gonna have a very similar role to this. I think he's gonna have maybe a bit more of a vital, important role, but I don't think that much is gonna happen. I think it shows because in Captain Marvel, he's one of the co-build there, and obviously it's a prequel. He's gonna have a big role there, but I think in Infinity War, I think he'll just be on the ground guy, kind of.
Yeah, I think he served as a really good intro in order to like bring all these supers together, but I feel like they've kind of lost or forgot, or they don't know what they really want him for anymore.
In that sense,
they kind of just toss him in.
In that sense, then, do you think they should have killed him at some point? Because I feel like now if they kill him, the impact is less. And I feel like with him being like, should he have maybe?
I actually totally agree that at this point, like, if he just shows up in some random movie and that's the movie he dies in, like, I think people might forget, like, oh, didn't he die already, or like what happened to him? What's his story again?
I think we kind of missed the boat.
I don't think they will. I think they're just gonna keep him around so they can throw Sam Jackson on a movie poster and say he's in this movie.
I'm fine if they do that. I just want him to have a role then, you know.
I do too.
So, and because Captain Marvel, he still could have been dead and come back because it's a prequel. So that's where it's like you could still do that. And I like this idea of what they're doing with these prequels of bringing multiple characters back. Like Coulson's coming back, and like that's cool. Like let's do that more. So. Maybe Infinity War he bites the dust. Maybe they want to give him a send off on like a big stage, right? And I just worry also, will people forget if it's Infinity War and it's so big, you know? There's gonna be, I think Avengers 2 has a lot going on. We're talking about this, like, Infinity War is gonna have quite a bit going on.
It's gonna have maybe too much.
We'll see, hopefully not.
Join us for the review. Join them for the review.
Yep. And then we'll talk about it at some point.
I'll talk about it.
When we get to it on the retro in 10 years from now. No.
Yeah, exactly. 10 years.
Anything else big?
I feel like I just had some. Oh, we didn't really mention it, but the Hulkbuster, as you called it.
Mm-hmm.
Love that fight scene. You know,
it's so good.
A lot of fun to see. I think there's like some really great moments. You know, when he activates like the rapid jab thing, he just punches him over. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
And you brought up the Banner thing. I love that because that's the thing. Like comics that Hulk hates Banner, just like Banner. And then he's like, okay, don't bring up puny Banner. He says like really great line.
I think it's slightly unnecessary that he is like, oh, let's just like push Hulk through like 40 stories of this building. Like I don't think, I mean, it didn't work, but I guess for him to.
I liked that
he probably could have guessed that it would work, but I still feel like it was kind of unnecessary destruction.
Perhaps. I like that he scanned it and it said clear and everything like that, even though it's destruction. I think I'm mad about it that I don't like that he drops him through those buildings. I think that would have been a perfect ending, and then he shoots all the rockets. I don't like that after he gets up, he's mad, and then he just punches him. I get it that maybe they're trying to say, oh, because he's so hurt and whatnot. I think that could have I think I would have rather that taken him
just
out.
Just that ended it,
Yeah, because then it would have made more sense, because like, well, did you just really need to hit just one more punch on him? I get the idea that
because he's
and I get it, he's weakened, but I don't know. Sometimes you don't need to play for the joke all the time.
It's true. Yeah, and I love that he can call in, you know, the Veronica, I think it's called, and just like, you know, reassembles his arm and things like that. Yeah, just all around a really fun scene. Well, and I like that there in the Infinity War trailer like that. We're gonna get to see some more of that Hulkbuster suit popping off. It's just fun.
Except this time with Hulk in it, and that's gonna be awkward, I think. So.
Yeah, is that what's happening?
I think it's Ruffalo in that suit. I think a lot of people. I've been saying that. I think you guys called. I think maybe Taylor.
That's the first I've heard about this.
I
might not be true.
When we talked about it the first time, he's in Sokovia, and Hulk or Iron Man's like not with them, or he's in Wakanda, and Iron Man's not with them. So I feel like he has the Hulkbuster suit, and then at some point you're gonna see the Hulk out with the Hulkbuster.
Bust out of the Hulkbuster suit. That's nice one, Marvel. Way to go.
That's some 16 wall break.
Cut the check, Feige.
In my notes, so these are just like rapid fire things. They try to do another classic Avengers shot to begin this movie with the them all jumping at the same time. It's cool. No Avengers twirling around thing. I also think because it comes right at the beginning of the movie.
That is how the movie starts with that fight scene.
Yeah,
they did an Avengers twirling around thing, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. No, I'm saying that versus like the first classic. Yeah, like I felt like they were trying to make two more like classic ones we're always gonna use. I feel like they don't use those, and still it's like
shots,
let's use the New York one, you know. And now I think the one that did eclipse it is the airport one. You see that all the time, is them running at each other. Like that felt like a moment where that just felt like we're trying to make another big moment. So I always like it, but I'm like, yeah, it works, but it's not as good. It's too much going on. It's cluttered. There's snow. Like
it's fucking snow, dude. Yeah, snow.
Of course, the classic line, language, great callback joke the whole way through. I'm a big fan of it, so good for Cap. I just love one moment when Captain America is riding the bike, and his way to get a guy is he just like front flips off of it and just throws the bike while he front flips. That's power.
That's true power.
Tony was just like, please be a secret door, please be a secret door. I like that. And he's like, yay. I like that. Yeah, we talked about Tony's vision a bit, I guess, because my problem with it is, so he's kind of seeing what he's most scared of, right? But I guess the problem is, I guess I answered my own question, because he's seeing that, but at the same time, he is kind of seeing a potential future because of Thanos and everything like that. But I guess he's seeing that because he saw those aliens, right? I guess that's what we're supposed to take from it, is that's why he's...
I guess I took it as, like, this is the most traumatic thing for him. Like, that thought is just something that unsettles him instantly, I guess.
But yeah, and we touched upon them. I like that. I love the other visions. Cap's one, obviously, is the most, like, heartbreaking one, because I love that it's, like, really nice and happy, and then it's like people are just like laughing very maniacally and it's evil,
right?
And then Peggy's just like, oh, dancing, and then like he has that moment where he thinks about dancing, and you can see that he almost is like about to succumb to this idea, but then like he breaks out and he's just alone and it's quiet in the room. But it's such a great scene. Really like Black Widows, because like Dill pointed out, like we've not seen much, we've just heard it talked about, but you see her just killing maybe innocent people, you see it being strict, you see the ballerinas, and you see her just talking about like, oh hey, like you'll break them, everything like that. The Thor one's fine, but the Thor one is exactly what I brought up a couple casts ago, that is a Ragnarok that does not exist anymore, because that to me was the full-on tone they were going to go. It's feel like, hey, we're going to make Ragnarok a bit more dark, a bit more doom and gloom. Like Hemdall's even referring to like it being end times for Asgard, and that's what Ragnarok's all about. You watch Taika Waititi's Ragnarok, that's nothing like like you don't have it's my birthday, like that whole tone is completely shifted, and that's where again it's like you see remnants of things they were maybe going, and I think in the long run it was for the best, but at the end of the day that I really like the serious ones, and sometimes I thought the humor in Ragnarok may have hurt it, so there's still a part of me that would have liked to see that, but I like Ragnarok to be like, okay.
I think for me the you know, the nail in the coffin always is that Thor 2 exists, and that was dark and serious.
Yep.
And it was awful.
And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. When Bruce is trying to like calm down in the airport or the hell carrier, and obviously he has the headphones, and then Thor's just like, Valhalla is filled with the screams of your victims, and then like Black Widow is just like, because of pain and sore and everything like that, like he just takes it back. We talked about already the party scene. I love everything from, obviously that's where you get your Stan Lee cameo in, the Excelsior, like the whole like he outdrinks him. And I think that's one of the better cameos. I like when Stan Lee is in multiple scenes. Like he talks to Thor, he drinks, and then he's drunk. You know, yeah, it's only 30 seconds, but I like it's like a little fun little arc thing.
Yeah, it's better than most.
It's better than I'm gonna get fired for this. You know, like that's about it. But the discussion Thor and Iron Man have about like who's better between Pepper and Jane, and they're just like dick measuring. Just at the end of the conversation, just like, but Jane is better. Like, it's so good. Also the hammer scene. I think we've talked about that before on this cast. Another cast, great scene. It's so much fun when you just got like War Machine and Iron Man at one point. He's like, "Are you pulling your weight?" And he's like, "I'm going. If you're going, like, okay, let's go," and like everything. And then Black Widow just like, "I don't need that question answered." And Ruffalo with like the fake like it's all of it's so good.
That awkward roar. And
no one believes him. And then the other thing is too, when Don Cheadle, this is probably my favorite War Machine moment, when he's talking about with Thor and Iron Man, and he's like, and then I dropped and I said, "Boom, you're looking for this?" And he's like, "That line usually kills." And then when he does it later on in the party, and laughs, and he's like, yeah, like he's like hyping himself up. The whole scene
that's
is like
self-validation.
Yeah, like I want a DVD of just that scene, like that party. Like it's just constantly good. Like that's where I want the quips and the constant humor to be in. Like it's fine in some action stuff too. I'm not saying that, but like I just love that party scene. It's so good. I know we'll never get a movie like that, but like just fucking make it. You guys are Disney. You guys got everything. You just bought the X-Men and Fantastic Four. Like just make that Avengers dinner party movie. Like, oh, so good.
So good. You depleted your notes over there, my friend?
I think about it. I had a fun fact for you guys that didn't know that Ant-Man, Hank Pym created Ultron in the comics, so that's something they changed. Obviously, that wasn't... he, for similar reasons, to protect the world.
Is there, like, any... There's probably some version, or, like, some run that had... Like this rough...
Probably, but it was a big contention with people. Like, where's Hank Pym? Like, everyone thought that was going to be how you brought Ant-Man into it.
Especially because that was the next movie coming out.
Yeah, like, oh, this is the way... here's something I want to bring up that... we did not discuss in Winter Soldier, and I desperately wanted to talk about. So, where Cap lives. And then in this movie, he's talking about living in Brooklyn. And he says, I can't afford Brooklyn. This man has saved the world on multiple occasions. He's a fucking huge-ass
It's because he
hero.
takes every cent he has and donates it to, like, children's hospitals or something.
I guess, but, like, then they should give him something for free. I do not buy that this character cannot afford a place in Brooklyn. I know they're trying their best to throw in the, like, oh, he's just like you, and it does work, But at the same time, when he said that, I'm like, come on. Like, he works for fucking S.H.I.E.L.D. Even Tony didn't be like, hey, I bought you a house because I really appreciate you, Cap. Like, that's such a bullshit line. I can't afford a place in Brooklyn.
I agree completely. I think he should be loaded. I think they all should, It's a pretty risky job that they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're the only ones who can do it. So...
There's a great moment when they're all arguing about after Ultron attacks the party and like Thor says something and Tony's just in the back like he's laughing about whatever he said and Banner's just behind him like no like not like stop laughing. Great chemistry between those two. Baron von Strucker. He was somebody in this movie.
Oh yeah, the villain for the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, no sense. He's a bigger comic villain. He's not huge, but like he still has a role. But like the fact that we met him in Winter Soldier, he had this thing with the twins, and then he dies off screen. What a waste! Like, I don't know.
Does he die?
Yeah, Ultron kills him to like kind of gain their trust, and they literally just showed on like an iPad photo, and they're like, "Look what happened to him," and it's like, yeesh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm from the non-comic book perspective, so I guess I didn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he had a name, but he still didn't, really have any like gravity within the MCU. Really, I guess he has more power than like I don't know. He's essentially just a goon with a name, is the way I take it. So
yeah,
it's fine with me.
I like when they get to Hawkeye's house. Downey sees the kids, and he's like, "What are these little agents?" I like that line.
Yikes.
Yep. I think that's everything I have.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the last thing, I think that scene at the end of the movie when Hawkeye's laying beside Quicksilver's dead body, super morbid, and that's in a Marvel Disney movie, and even this movie has. It's just like the body's just there, and that always struck me when I watched it. Like, man, like, still surprised that happens in these type of movies sometimes. So yeah, that was my notes on Avengers.
I had one quote I really liked from Cap. It's kind of right at the end of the movie. He's giving like a little pep talk. He says, "You get hit him back. You get killed, walk it off."
Oh yeah, walk it off. Yeah,
I think
really good.
Yeah, really, really nice little line there.
Perfect Cap line.
And then the other only thing to mention is the post-credit scene of Thanos equipping the gauntlet. Stupid.
I think because
why is that stupid?
It's good if that's one and there's another. It's just the exact same thing as one. Instead of him turning around and smiling, he's grabbing the gauntlet. No one's gonna know. Okay, I guess.
And that's the only one in this movie.
Yeah. I guess it's for the mainstream to be like, what's that glove? But like, if they really had to hit it home to be like, hey,
what's that glove?
Yeah, for them to really hit it home and be like, where's the glove? Like, for them to hit it home and be like, oh, Infinity Gauntlet's coming, or Infinity War now, titled, like, all of us hardcore fans knew that. Like, the second you show Thanos, like, Infinity Gauntlet is his story, and I feel like I would explain even to people that didn't read it at the time, like, oh, he does this thing, he gets this glove, all these stones. The post-credit scene just feels lazy and just feels like a reminder, like, hey, Thanos is coming, and we didn't have the rights to show Spider-Man yet. So, because this was the time, like, right around, I think they were talking about getting Spider-Man. There was rumors where they did get him, and there was even this huge thing, like, 2 weeks before that, like, a leaked post-credit scene of Spider-Man, and the big thing was that, like, some guy was cleaning Avengers Tower, and, like, Spider-Man lands on the glass. He's like, hey, you missed a spot right there. And he had that one, like, you missed a spot right there. He's like, you missed a spot right there. And then he, like, just looks and he spins away. And when I thought that, I'm like, actually, I really like that post-credit scene. Because it looked really good, but it wasn't. But that's where the Thanos went, okay, but there's nothing big in this post-credit scene. It's just, he's coming. Right. He's coming.
I like it visually, but I guess you're right that it's not really anything new. And I guess it's kind of disappointing that there's only one post-credit scene. I think for Avengers, it's kind of when you load up and that's when you drop, like, Guardian style, like drop like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 post-credit scenes.
Just more party post-credit scenes.
More party, yeah.
More
true.
Party, yeah.
I do agree with you, by the way, that that whole party scene is a lot of fun. And just like those, moments when it's just the characters kind of having fun with each other. They're not trying to push any of their stories forward or anything. It's just, here's the characters we made, and here's them just having a good time. Something a little bit different.
It's not like BVS where when they're not superheroes, they're still fucking pissed and depressed all the time. Like they're having a good time.
That's pretty much all my notes as well.
Yeah, we've gone long on this one. I'm not going to retread anything because I feel like my overall statement is pretty similar to my final statement. Everything I wanted to say, I would have said it by now. Give this movie a 7 out of 10. I still enjoy it a lot. There's some great moments, but there's some stuff that hampers it down from being anywhere near Avengers or Civil War, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
this is still a good, for me, movie, but you can't compare it. Like, I think when we rank them in Dynamic Duo, this movie's pretty low because there's a lot of other just DC movies or Fox movies. Like, it's just a good, solid movie, but there's a lot of other comic movies I would much rather watch than this. So, yep. And the characters, they make it. Like, watching those people in bad movies, like we've talked about with the Retro, even Iron Man 2 or something, like, I don't consider a bad movie, but when you got these people playing the characters well, it still is worth a watch. So 7 out of 10 for me.
I think in retrospect it's interesting because you could look at this movie at the time or before Civil War came out and say, there is some problems with it, but with all the characters they had going on, can you really blame them? Like, it's still like pretty good. But we saw in Civil War how like every character seems to have like their moments and is successful. So yeah, obviously this movie does struggle from its lack of focus. Some things are really good and it's really fun to see some connections between some characters, but overall, some of the others kind of get left in the dust. I think there is a lot of really good setup for particularly Civil War. I mean, there's kind of your quick glimpse at like, Black Panther in the world of Wakanda. So, I think one thing I didn't really think about, and I really like the point you brought up, Travis, that like nothing really kind of happens here. This is kind of like a stepping stone or something.
Yeah.
But you would think that Avengers, like the Avengers movie, these are kind of like the end of phase 1 or the end of phase 2, whatever.
This does not feel like that.
Yeah, right. It kind of just feels, like it's setting up for something else. And
where Civil War does. Like,
yeah,
Civil War
like
feels
I'm not
like
super
real
pissed
Avengers.
because it's like, well, this does set up quite well with Civil War, and then Civil War really pays off. But still, you can't look past the flaws that this movie has. But overall, it's still really enjoyable, and I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times now, and it's still fun to watch, and it's still fun to see these characters popping off. Big field.
Yeah, I'd give it a 8.5. I think it's a great movie, but then whether or not it could have been done better, I don't know. I don't qualify to really know if I could direct a better movie or not, but
I don't think any of us can.
I would love to see a Taylor-directed Avengers movie.
Wow. Phase 4, we're
Phase
kicking off
4.
Taylor Fields, starting the Avengers off fresh.
cut the check.
Cut the check, Feige. If you got to direct one movie in the MCU, what would it be? Or like one character's movie.
Oh, come on, you know. You gotta know.
Are you going Ghost Rider?
Oh, how could I not?
They do own him now, so you can.
How about from something like a character that we have established in the
A
MCU
character that we
right
have
now?
right now?
Just in the movies.
Just in the movies?
Can even be one that has died if you want.
Yeah.
Just a pure thought
I'm not
experiment.
doing quick
I wouldn't pick Quicksilver.
Please no.
To be honest, I mean, I have to put more thought into it, but off the top of my head, I'd probably go with like a Rocket and a Groot movie. I think I could have a lot of fun with that.
I think you could too.
I'm gonna do the party movie, like I said already. If I can't do that, then a solo Loki movie. I still think there's potential there to do something.
Cool.
What about you,
With
Mr. Russ?
the Grand Master.
Yeah, or just a buddy. Yeah, or just a Grandmaster Collector movie.
I'd
like
probably
a family Thanksgiving with them, like a Thanksgiving movie with their family,
Or,
and you
or
and
like a Christmas movie or
Thor's
something.
over and Korg's over. Yeah, like that's exactly. I want them to do some of these fucking weird movies, you know.
Instead of Winter Soldier, the Winter Wonderland. Yeah, they're just all...
Bucky,
Hang
come
down.
sit on my lap. I might break it.
Yeah, I'd probably be the one to jump in on that Doctor Strange Scarlet Witch movie.
Yeah,
I'd make it super weird, and instead of Doctor Strange's one Pink Floyd song, it would just be Pink Floyd the entire time.
You're bringing Mads
fucking
back, right?
psychedelic. Mads is coming back
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
There's actually 2 Mads. He plays 2 characters, and Scarlet Witch actually gets some character development, or at least I would try my best to achieve that.
Yeah.
Not to say that I
I'm
could
sure
do
all
that.
these people have tried.
Well, I don't know.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, 8.5. You know, as I said, like
It's a clean score.
It is clean. I'm not
It's nearly an 8.
not qualified, to say that I could do a better movie or anyone else could.
You
But
said it
that-
twice now, so
I know,
you feel like you could.
I do reiterate. I think that being said, even though it may not be like the most perfect movie, what we had to be done in this sense so that we could get where we are now. Which where we are now is great. We have great movies, and this movie, even though it was
Some people argue the best movie with Black Panther right now. You know.
yeah.
Well, I think
You shut you down.
you don't feel like you've heard that argument where some people, maybe myself, have said this is the best MCU movie, and for them,
It's being argued.
you don't think so? You don't think people are talking about that right now? Is it the best?
But who's arguing about it?
That it's bad.
Well, someone no, that's not that. I didn't say that. I was arguing if it's good movie or bad movie. People are arguing, is it the best of the MCU?
Why are they arguing about that?
Because
though?
someone say no, Avengers is, or no, Civil War is.
No,
I'm saying the fact
Incredible
of that we're at movie 17 and movie 17 is still being put out and people are like, this could be the best one. Shows
where is this
I just try to support. Oh my god! Get Twitter, get Facebook, get on social media. Like I try to support you to the point you just fucking.
I think Tanner does
down.
have Facebook. Tell us about Facebook.
Yeah,
just
just
hashtag transition.
Facebook. That was a beautiful transition.
Thank you.
You know what? After
Support
you're
your wolf brethren.
after you're done uploading your Ultrons into your Jarvises and your Jarvises into your Visions,
Inserting your zucchinis.
you can find us in the search bar with your internet connection. In the search bar, you type in Geek vs. Space Podcast on your Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. Space bar, not the space word. And you're going to find all this awesome content. You're going to find playlists and videos and whatever you want. We're Geek First. We have it all. I mean, we're legit. We're the real deal.
Porn.
Hell
Coming
yeah.
soon for the $100 people on Patreon.
After
Yeah, 9. But yeah, you know, it's always a great time, a good time, every time, this time.
Well, thanks, big
Nice.
guy. Thanks for helping me out there, big guy. Yeah, go to geekfirstpodcast.com. You can find everything. Infinity War is coming up soon, so we'll be doing a review of that. We're reviewing a bunch of other movies this month.
Yeah.
Taylor has a very special Rotterdam happening soon, so that should be cool. It's going to
Very
be Marvel superhero theme, so that should be interesting. You find us on Twitter, Facebook. Please like and subscribe, share. As far as our channels, don't just stare at it. Like it, share it, subscribe, review. That helps us out. If you like what we do here, you should definitely head over to Patreon for $1, $5. You'll be getting these episodes early. If you like our retrospective Spider-Man retro, soon you're gonna have 2 seasons up there. For $5, you get every single episode. That's hours of content. If not, like I said, support us this other way. Help us spread the show. So we thank you very much for tuning in. Next week next week will be Ant-Man, and then after that we do have a rankings special, and then we're gonna be done for a little while. Marvel Retro is always gonna stick around. We were talking about this today when like Netflix shows drop or movies drop. We're gonna bring it back and do a special retro. We still got the original Hulk to do. We gotta do Elektra and Daredevil and the original Fantastic Four, which has like a $100,000 budget. Like, there's lots of good stuff. That Captain America from 1944.
Yeah.
Gotta do
We're
that.
never giving up.
No. Never surrender.
We're gonna review every single movie of all time.
So we thank you
One
for
point
tuning
time.
in. Have a marvelous day, and we'll see you in the post-credits scene. Cut the check.
When did they change to catch?
Yeah, no, that was mine. Well, I feel like I've probably said that before.
Oh yeah, we've said it all before.
Yeah, you're right.
I was talking about Geek vs. Porn, and now you're like, oh, look what I have right here.
When I was editing,
Let me show you my stuff.
That's
Yeah,
why I took
well,
off my hat.
No one ever notices when I get a haircut.
I noticed when you got a haircut. You cut it yourself last time we did the Marvel thingy.
I guess, but you'll usually ask some weird question like, oh, you know.
So weird
You
question.
got a haircut there? And I just said,
I don't think I say it like that. Oh, you got a haircut there.
No, I say it like oh, you got a haircut there. Or you'll be like, where's you literally? I think one time asked me, where's your hair? Like, it's like,
Did I really?
yeah.
That's
I'm
fucking
like,
weird.
oh, it's just falling off. I don't know, like.
Do you want some water too, Taylor?
I would love a glass of water.
Thank you.
Thank
Really
you very
parched
much.
today.
I know.
Thank you. Wow, his water is always really good. I don't know how he does it. I guess it's the filter.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Is this like the equivalent to like you feel bad that you never set me up with one of your friends when I inquired?
I never.
Trying to set
I
me with
know
a
when you say you are completely contradicting the story. I never said that.
He does that a lot.
I was talking
But
about
he's
setting
kind of
up.
sneaky.
I was talking about one of my. I'll put these clips back together, back to back. I was talking about setting up one of my friends, and you were the one that said like, "Why don't you set me up with one of your friends?" Like, I didn't say, "Oh, Taylor, you know what? I feel really bad. I didn't set you up with somebody I know." You're like, "Why you set me up?" Huh? Oh, there you go. One day I'll just show up on your doorstep, Taylor, and then.
I don't really have a doorstep. I'm kind of below the doorstep. It's a basement suite.
Just gets better and better.
A doorstep doesn't have to go up. It could be a doorstep down.
Yeah, it's just
Really? I have a staircase
It's just a
going
step
down.
that goes to a door. It doesn't matter what
I'll
way.
knock on the door if I ever
It
need
could
to
be
do that.
it could go sideways. I don't know.